Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
Well, one of the complaints in the past when the Cavaliers would take on the Knicks is that Jared Allen would be pushed around by New York. Last night at Rocket Arena, it was the mighty Fro doing the shoving.
A swipe for Allen, long strike. Oh, Jared Allen, the Fro takes flight. A little extra force on the slam. Bridges too strong. Merrill the board. Harden looking to push, and now slow it down. On the drive, Wade. Allen again. He's got a vendetta against that rim.
That courtesy NBA on Peacock. Good guys win it, 109-94. Allen is 8th double-double in the last 9 games, 19 points, 10 rebounds. Donovan Mitchell with 23 points. James Harden added 20. Cavs now tied with New York for the number 3 spot in the Eastern Conference. Brown GM Andrew Barry said on Tuesday Browns don't need to decide on their starting quarterback just yet. It's believed that Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson would be the frontrunners for the job. However, the Browns might seek outside help as Barry admits the Browns could draft another QB come draft time in April. Guardians in Glendale, yes, they lose to the Dodgers 11-3. Gavin Williams made his first start of the spring, gives up 2 runs, 1 earned on 1 hit in 1 1/3 innings. The Guards lose for the first time in 5 Cactus League games. Travis Bazzana, pair of hits, including a 3-run homer. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
The afternoon drive.
Not that like 6.5 is something to write home about, though.
No,
let's not get this mistaken.
If you were a 5-win team last year and nothing has changed today, being on the track for more wins, I think, is an interesting kind of take from Vegas. Before free agency, before trades, before the combine, and certainly before the draft, they expect to be one of the 8 worst teams or one of the 5 worst teams, and you can change that math in free agency and trades and draft really easily. Like, can you?
I'm just trying to figure out where they found the extra 1.5.
Maybe they're big Munkin guys.
That's what I want to know. Is it like, because clearly Vegas, the only thing that's changed with this Browns team in the time that the season has ended till now is Stefanski being the head coach.
The afternoon drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Tonight we're gonna take no prisoners.
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Give him a chance. He needs to see quickly whether or not he can help this team come playoff time. Just going to give him ample opportunity. What a finish! Donovan Mitchell! It looked like he just got shot out of a cannon to the rim. A swipe for Allen. Long strike. Oh! Jared Allen! The Fro takes flight. A little extra force on the slam. Bridges too strong. Merrill the board. Harden looking to push, and now slow it down. On the drive, Wade. Allen again! He's got a vendetta against that rim. And the Cavs string together stops. They get the Knicks string together stops. It's Harden in the corner, and he knocks it down. A big 3 for James Harden right off the bench. Porter will take it across. Dominant effort as the Cleveland Cavaliers nearly lead this one wire to wire. 109-94 the final.
I mean, there was belief. There was belief around the locker room. We were in the same position against the Christmas to see us be able to respond the right way. Even with all the choppiness, I still found a way to continue to do what we do. Even when shots were going, that's the biggest thing.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of Peacock. All right, where you at? 216-474-0092. Where's the sky?
The state of the Cavs is
penciled into the finals. That's where the state of the Cavs are. I was looking for, there are no pencils in this room. I was going to make like a smug thing and put it on social media. I don't have any pencils. There's no pencils in this room. I can't. They're penciled into the finals. I want to know, where are they at? Where are the people who said that I was an idiot on Sunday night, said that I'm a homer, a shill for the Cavs, whatever. I want to know where they're at. I want to know. I want to know. Because clearly, very clear, like I don't know if I've ever been this adversarial towards a listener in my life.
Oh, I love it.
Because you love it when I get sassy.
I love it. Finally,
I get all
get the heat
sassy
off
with the
of
listener.
me.
Well, no, because
let him come to you.
Because this is what it was: is that everybody was quiet after they traded for James Harden, and there was reason too, because they were blowing teams out. Then they played Oklahoma City. Then it was same old sorry-ass Cavs. This hasn't been a move. And then yesterday, it was this big, well, what's the game mean? Does it mean anything? Does it not mean anything? Is it a must-win? Well, what's a must-win? I'm like, guys, to the fans, look at the fights we had online. Look at the fights that we've had on the air on Monday. Don't tell me it's not a must-win. It's a must-win. All right? It's a must-win. And because we are still trying to figure out, remember, they're not practicing. They're practicing, but they're not like practicing.
I guess they've had 2 full practices and a shoot-around so far. That's it.
They have half a season. They have half a season to get this thing going. Already I've seen some great ball movement. It's like, okay, these are guys who've played basketball their entire lives, and there's certain things that they can do. And I'm sitting there watching just like, I can't believe James Harden and Sam Merrill and the outlets and things like this just work so quickly. And it's like, well, some of this stuff is ingrained from a lifetime of basketball. But either way, I caught hell on Monday, and I want to know. Are we just is this what we're going to do for the regular season? Or are we just waiting to bitch? Or are we going to recognize good play when it happens? Because there was a time in the second quarter, Mitchell Robinson, and you saw it, and he's one of the best in the business, okay? It's not just where he beats up the Cavs. Mitchell Robinson's a great, great player. But you saw it where he started to pound him on the glass, and it was like, here we go again.
Oh, he took over for a bit.
And they answered, and I love Jalen Tyson for a spell there. They answered, and they did a fine job, and they closed it out, and they won the game, and I thought it was a great thing for Cavs fans. And I want to know, where are the – do the old Hulk Hogan. Where are the haters here? Where are they at? I want to know where they're at. Where are the people who loaded us up on the phone on Monday, who was tweeting at me on Sunday night, giving me the double birds about the Cavs, calling me all types of names? I want to know where those folks are at. Because Cavaliers won yesterday against a good team, and they won a fine ball game yesterday. That's what they did. Boom.
So I did not think it was a must-win, but damn, was it nice. It was nice to get a little bit of, I know it's a regular season game, get a little bit of that monkey off the back because, you know, everybody, it's so funny. They were favored by like 5 points yesterday. And yet, if you took the temperature of Cavs fans after the Oklahoma City loss, everybody was like, same old playoff Cavs. And I was like, man, they just threw this team together. They just threw them together a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. 3 weeks ago, they put James Harden, who, while he has been so selfless with the basketball, he actually didn't get to the free throw line yesterday, which is a rarity in his world. But he is a guy, his whole career has dominated the basketball. And then they added Schroeder and Ellis. Evan Mobley just got back in the lineup. Wade just got back in the lineup. And then they're like, oh, go figure it out against the best teams in the NBA. Like, that's not typically how you should be measured. Yeah. And I wasn't going to lose my mind if they lost yesterday. I'll be honest, I didn't feel great about that game going into it. Considering all the moving parts.
We were on the phone after the Todd McShay interview, which you will hear at 7 o'clock this morning. Legendary NFL guru of the draft, Todd McShay, 7 a.m. Hear who he has the Browns taking at number 6. Who he has flying up the board. Some Browns fans already beat you to it. Either way, go back.
So I did not have a great feeling, not because I didn't believe in the Cavs, just because, you know, the Knicks have had a good year as well, although their fans have called out their flaws. We have our flaws. Detroit has their flaws, even though they keep winning games no matter what it seems. All these teams, the Boston Celtics really are going to be a new team too because they're going to add Jason Tatum back, but we don't know at what level. So I keep pointing out to everybody, like, it's okay to have some flaws this time of year. We're trying to figure things out for a month and a half from now, 2 months from now, not necessarily right now. And then they came out and they totally discombobulated Jalen Brunson.
Yes, they did.
They threw everybody at him.
Can I ask you?
Kenny, it started out with Dean Wade. He was making life miserable on Brunson. Then they were okay. Hey, we'll switch other guys onto him. I saw Jared Allen on him at times. I saw Sam Merrill on him at times. I saw Tyson on him at times. I saw James Harden on him at times. Like, basically everybody. Evan Mobley came out and switched onto him. So they threw.
You know, I didn't see him at times, and I thought that he was going to be a little bit of a change, and maybe it will be in the playoffs. I thought Dennis Schroeder would be on him a little bit more.
Yeah, I think
I didn't see.
Yeah, it was more of those bench units. But either way, I was
looking at Twitter. I'm sorry.
Either way, all these guys were coming at Jalen Brunson, and it disrupted everything they could do. And I think that's why you saw ultimately not only did he struggle, but Karl Anthony Towns only attempted 5 shots. Well, a big part of that is a 2-man game. And we did such an effective job really bothering them. And they figured out, like, James Harden was able to hide in certain moments, and then he actually was doing some good ISO defending in the post. He was guarding Karl Anthony Towns, the 7-footer. So that's kind of as advertised.
Remember, I'm not calling out Bob on 480 who's driving it. Well, it depends, but I'm not calling out. There is a very loud minority of fans that jumped in and jumped my ass, and really, I mean, yours to a certain degree, but you were a little bit more measured than me. Jumped my ass on Sunday about the possibilities with this basketball team after the loss to Oklahoma City. So, I mean, I want to hear it because Oklahoma City's a finals team. I didn't say they were winning the finals. This is going to be difficult here. To me, the goal is simple. Everybody wants to win the finals. I get it. I think it's obviously easier said than done. We've only done it once. Everybody thinks it's easier said than done. That's a stupid sentence to say. But if you're penciling them to the finals, I mean, this would be a tremendous step where you haven't been to an Eastern Conference Finals, so you'd be able to go past an Eastern Conference Final. And I understand. They got Milwaukee tonight on the road. Then they got Detroit on the road. They have 3 games in 4 nights and 4 games in 6 nights over this stretch. So there's a lot of basketball to be played. But I thought last night was a tremendous opportunity for the ones who are excited about the trade to puff their chest out. And this is why I thought it was a must-win. Not a must-win to the players. They could have walked back into the dressing room had they lost by 15, and it's like, hey, we got to get some things figured out. We'll work on it, this, that, and the other. But I thought for the fan base, where there were a lot of people who were very upset about the possibilities of trading Darius Garland for James Harden, there was that vocal minority that was, I think, ready and raring to go and ready to let us have it. And I thought it was a big win for the fans last night. I thought it was a really big win just for our confidence to show what this team could possibly do in the East. That's where I was at. I thought they played inspired basketball.
Well, it's funny, though.
Nobody shrank from the lights.
Is it not, Kenny?
Nobody did that. I thought it was great.
Yeah, and they held their own. They held their own
Yes,
in points
they
in the
did.
paint. It was kind of a draw. The rebounding numbers, despite that Mitchell Robinson takeover segment of the game, the rebounding was pretty even, so you didn't get destroyed. It was something, I'm not sure who their sideline reporter was last night on Peacock, and boy, did I have some issues with Peacock last night that I'm hoping do not come back to haunt me.
Was it Noah Eagle? Was it you had issues with? I know he's not the sideline person,
no,
I never heard the sideline person. I'm sorry.
I've never seen or heard from her either, and she was talking to Jared Allen. They had him kind of mic'd up and before the game, and, you know, it was the reinforcement of all the stuff that Jared Allen's heard about. Like, keep them off the glass because, you know, we know what's happened. And we know how these have been the games where his own terms have been thrown back in his face. Mm-hmm. So it was awesome. I was kind of sitting in there expecting a full 48-minute slugfest, and we kind of kicked their ass there in the second half. Like, it wasn't even a ball game in the fourth quarter. You could tell, like, Reggie Miller was kind of bored because they hit 2 threes back-to-back, and he had to do the thing that you hate when I always hated this when I was just before I was doing this for a living, and I'm like, Reggie, look at the score, and it's like, oh, now I realize he's got to make it seem like it's a close game because it's not. They hit 2 threes, and he's like, oh boy, here we go with 7 minutes left, but the game was over.
I told you this. I love Reggie Miller now, which is contrary to what a lot of people would think about the guy because I know that he deals with a lot of criticism. But remember, back in the day, you could text TNT, and you could text Reggie Miller.
What?
During the broadcast.
I don't remember this.
I'll never forget this. Me, my buddy Dylan, my buddy's last name was Matsy. I swear to God. You could text him during the broadcast. Like, they had it on the screen, and we sent this thing, and it was 20 years old, guys. Like I was a kid. I was an idiot. And it was like, you suck. You're terrible. Get off the microphone. And he just wrote back, H.A. stuck with me. Enjoy the night. I'm like, oh my God.
He texted back.
And it was probably some producer, but it could have been Reggie Miller. Either way, it sounded like Reggie Miller. It sounded like something Reggie Miller would say. It read like something you would say. I've liked Reggie Miller ever since.
Well, we have the coming in hotline, so if you guys want, go to the Odyssey app.
Rip Reggie Miller.
Rip us. Whatever you want to say. Whatever. By the way, they're 13-2 in their last 15 games, and it's just funny to hear the way you're talking. If somebody just came out of a coma or they're just driving through Cleveland, and they're going to be like, I thought the Cavs were really good. What was all this needing this win for? Well, they're one of the best teams in basketball over the last 2 months.
You've listened to a little bit of WFAN. all right? Our sister station in New York. You listen to a little bit of WFAN. You've seen a little bit of what's gone on ESPN. I mean, they're 37-21 coming into this game. They're one game better. And there's been a lot of Knicks fans who have been very upset with what they've done this year. So there's a little bit of criticism. There's a lot of criticism towards the New York Knicks. So you had two teams that, in the grand scheme of things, on February 24th, I don't know how much it really does mean. But I think you had two fan bases, I should say, that were looking for something to latch on to, especially after the Christmas Day game where you gave up a 17-point lead at the Garden. And Spike's going nuts, and Tracy Morgan's losing his mind. It was just an embarrassing day to have to go in there and then go eat dinner in the dining room. It sucked. And so for this game, with the fans kind of like, okay, now the honeymoon's over, let's see where it is, to win by 15 and to answer the challenge physically, I was just inspired by it. It was, I don't know if it was the win of the year. It was maybe my favorite Cavs game of the year. Knowing that I'm going to come in here and I know how it's going to go. I know how this is going to go. We ain't going to get, we got like one person here. We ain't going to get any calls.
Oh, if they would have lost,
I know how this is going to be.
You can call people out on this. There is no doubt.
The playbook is out.
There's no doubt had they have lost this game and had been the same old, we would have had full lines. And now that they won, so what is it with the Cavs? What is it? Because that's not the case. Obviously, that's not the case with the Browns.
Well,
the Browns win. It's jubilation. It's a fan fest. It is a total pep rally. You know, Guardians, it's just expected. But with the Cavs, when they lose that game, everybody's up in arms about how this is a disaster. And when they win, it's crickets. What is that? That is bizarre to me. Someone's going to have to get into the psychology of that and explain it to me.
216-474-0092. No, I feel the same way you do. I know why. I think I know why. So I want you to bring this up a little bit later on in the show.
I can't wait for you to tell me.
I'll explain it to you in 5 minutes. Can I explain it to you in 5 minutes also? Andrew Berry spoke yesterday. Combine kicked off yesterday with media obligations. They're going to start working out today in their underwear. If we're willing to tell Baker that he was safe in 2022, imagine how crazy this ride is going to get when Andrew Berry wouldn't commit to anybody yesterday. That also coming up after I tell you why people have been this way about the Cavs this season in 5 minutes on the Fan. Northeast Ohio Fence and
maybe in December when we talked. And he said, he goes, watch him. He goes, this is what I do when I.
and on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn app.
We're good, but we got a few more notches to get to. And with only, 25 games left? But I think we can get there. I know we can get there. And I think it's going to start defensively. Like, I can impact the game. I can have 20-something. I can have 30-something. Donovan can do the same thing. But we can also facilitate and got guys that can make shots and bigs that can help us with that.
Coming up at 7 o'clock, Todd McShay going to join us on the show. Donovan Mitchell in the postgame. Cavaliers won last night. Fabulous stuff. Fabulous stuff. I called out the haters, which is I get it. I shouldn't be narrowcasting. I'm talking to a lot of people. There's thousands of people listening right now. I shouldn't be just talking to a very small group. But damn it, they all got in on Sunday, and then they got in on Monday. You, this, that, and the other, about all this other stuff. Oh, you guys can't get your asses out of your head out of your asses about the Cavs. This thing's going to be a failure. Nick was right, the whole thing. And, okay, well, I'm going to turn it into a game-by-game thing. I don't care. Try not to cuss because I'm excited about last night's win. Now, what they need to do is, do we know who's starting tonight for the Cavs against Milwaukee?
What do you mean?
Have they said Donovan's not going to play tonight in Milwaukee?
I haven't seen anything yet.
Well, we need to have a little scheduled loss here, so I don't need to catch hell coming up tomorrow morning because they do play at Milwaukee tonight. 216-474-0092. All right, can I give you my reason why fans were so tough on them? Because we do got people in here, so I do want to get to them. I know we got Andrew Berry audio. We got to get in again. We got Todd McShay. I almost called him Todd Berry. Todd McShay coming up at 7 o'clock this morning. I think the reason the fans were down and angry, it's not just that you lost games. I do think it's how you lost games. It is the motion in the ocean in so many ways, Tone. You've been beaten physically, and that takes something out of a fan base. It doesn't matter. You could be from Miami, Florida. You could be from San Francisco, California, Phoenix, Arizona, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Detroit. Doesn't matter. There are fan bases that pride themselves on being tougher more than other fan bases. That's true. But every fan base thinks they're tough. Every fan base wants a tough team that they root for. And when you question toughness, that takes a lot out of a fan base. So they don't just question you like, hey, it's going to be tough. Like, I heard Richard Jefferson on Sunday. Richard Jefferson was right. Like, there was some really crazy people on that 2016 Cavaliers team that would drop anything and start fighting anybody at any time. And you didn't question, it was like, man, Golden State's great. You didn't question how tough the Cavs' entirety of their team was in 2016. This has been questioned over the last 3 years. So when you question their toughness, people take that personally. So to some level, I can understand. And this is partly why I'm definitely overboard with excitement right now, because I saw tough play last night. I was tweeting about Jalen Tyson committing a hard foul. No easy baskets for Mitchell Robinson. None of that stuff. Get in there and make it hell on these guys. Be tough. Yeah, that's what I got excited about last night. Jared Allen finally didn't shrink like a violet or any of that other stuff against New York. They played tough yesterday.
Yeah, I thought they matched the physicality, right?
Yes.
I thought that's half the battle. Against a team like the Knicks, who at times can be also offensively challenged. And there was, let's be honest, there was a rim. There was a cover on the rim last night. They couldn't hit. I mean, they had a lot of open looks in that third quarter, and nothing would go down. But I think part of it is that they were playing from behind. And there's a huge difference in this league when you're playing from behind or when things are going your way. And I think the Knicks kind of looked around. They had bad body language. The Karl Anthony Towns night was it because once he gets going from deep, he's kind of one of those front runner guys that when things are going well for Karl Anthony Towns, that transforms their team. But when it's like last night where you saw something going on, only 5 shots, that's huge because he adds a different dimension to their team and he can space the floor from 30 feet. So I thought also how many times, it's been a few years, but Josh Hart would run down every loose ball. Wasn't happening last night. So those are the things that feed that Knicks engine and the second opportunities where all of a sudden they're kicking it out and Jalen Brunson's hitting dagger threes and they're letting you know about it. There was a play early in that game where they had trouble. It was part of that Mitchell Robinson takeover where they had, I think, Jalen Tyson from behind and Jared Allen in front, and he was just going up and getting the rebound, and then he put it back in, and he was talking. And he remember, he was a guy that he humiliated you after the fact. Like after they knocked you out a few years ago. Mitchell Robinson was the guy again. Yes, laughing at you. And he was trying to do that and impose his will, but they weathered the storm and they matched that physicality.
216-474-0092. We got some exuberance here with the Cavs. I want to get to you folks out there. Enzo, the baker in Lakewood. You're next up on the fan. Hello, Enzo.
Oh, good morning, Ken. Good morning, Anthony. Exciting win from the Cavs last night. I feel much confidence in the team, especially after the Harden trade, I should say. Given what I saw last night, I would give the Cavs a 90% chance of making the NBA Finals.
Wow, 90% chance. I'll take that. Thank you very much for the call, Enzo. Isaac in Shaker Heights, you're next up on the fan. Hello, Isaac. Isaac. It's the second time we've had a drop in Shaker Heights over the last couple of days. Jeff in University Heights, hello.
Was that Isaac Okoro that was on the line?
Well, I don't know if Isaac Okoro would call in this early. He's a Chicago Bull, is he not?
Yeah, but it was a missed shot, though, so that's why.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go with Jeff. All right, go ahead, Jeff.
Kicking him out the door.
Wow.
But anyway, I digress. So, yeah, the thing that impressed me the most last night was two things. What they did on the defensive end, and for the first time ever in this iteration of the Cavs, they matched the physicality of the Knicks. To your point, Ken, on that play by Mitchell Robinson when he was talking smack afterwards, usually the old Cavs would have backed down, hung their heads, and would have got punked. But that didn't happen yesterday because you got some pit bulls on this team now, and even though he didn't play until garbage time last night, the attitudes of Naquan, Tomlin, and Keon, Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, Jalen Tyson, they're not gonna let that sugar honey iced tea go anymore. So that's what I liked about last night.
I agree with you, Jeff. Like you do have a few more. Like you always need role players. It's like, well, you can't have a bunch of role players and win a championship. I understand that, but you got guys who you're going to have desperate, talented players. You've had the talent before, but you're going to have guys that are willing to play desperately. Naquan Tomlin is a man who's obviously a very desperate man and has earned every single penny he's making in this league. So you have guys like that, and I understand. Like that guy comes in later, but that's part of what you're trying to build as a culture to shake off this thought that you're not tough. Jalen Tyson is a man who's had to earn it. You're trying to shake off this thought that you're not tough with everybody. All right, we usually don't do this. Hello, Braden.
Hello.
Braden, hello. Go ahead, young man.
Hey, I want to say I'm a huge fan of your show, and I'm a huge fan of the Cavs.
Well, Braden, I thank you very much. Go Cavs.
Braden, you on your way to school?
Are you going to school?
Yeah.
All right. Enjoy the day at school, all right? Don't run up a great big lunch bill on your parents' bill like my kids do to mine, okay?
I won't.
Thank you very much, Braden. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Yeah, I get calls all the time. Actually, no, that was more last year. I've only gotten like 2 this year.
How much was it?
He would take. We were down like $30 because he would take his buddies in there and go, "Yeah, have at it. Here you go." And I get a call from the school, and it's like, "You guys are $30 in the hole."
Giving handouts?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just show up at school like he was Fredo. I can't say the rest of that because Braden is still listening.
Giving out oranges?
He was giving out oranges 2 at a time. There was nothing he could do.
Yeah, we normally don't. The kids, unfortunately, we have our rules and regulations. But you know what? Cavs won.
Yeah.
So screw it.
Usually we're much meaner about that, but I couldn't
The one
do it.
time.
Yeah.
He got by.
time.
He
All
got
right.
by our season 3-day call screener.
The kids can get in if they make the finals, all right? If they win the Eastern Conference,
Is that
all
a
the
bet?
kids can get in.
Is that a deal?
Yeah, that's a deal. Next time the kids can get in is when they win the finals. I'm excited because we're talking trash to the haters out there. Andrew Barry, he spoke yesterday. Folks, if we were willing, you remember this, I reminded you about this. When they went looking for quarterbacks, and we know who they went looking for. When they went looking for quarterbacks in 2022, during that late fall, early winter, it was a conversation, and then they went to the combine, and it was Mary Kay had reported. They talked to Baker, everything's fine, Baker's safe, this, that, and the other. Then March came, and we know what they did. Well, Andrew Berry isn't saying the same thing about anybody anymore. So if they were willing to tell them that Baker Mayfield was safe in 2022, imagine how wild it's going to be this time around, because he says they don't have to make a QB decision anytime soon.
Right now, it's February 24th. We don't have to make that decision anytime soon. I think any player that we have in that room, we would expect to compete to earn a role. Those two would be no different.
They were asking Andrew Berry as well about the starter to the season. Are you okay not having your quarterback or not knowing who your QB1 is going to be, Andrew?
Either scenario is fine. I don't know that I would handicap one versus the other. I think we have to be flexible to both situations, but neither scare me.
So he spoke a lot about Shedeur Sanders. He spoke a little bit about Deshaun Watson. There was a little bit even about Dylan Gabriel in there. I think it's going to be a two-headed race to see who ends up being the starting quarterback. But, boy, I'm starting to get a stealing feeling, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't want people to tell me if I'm wrong. If I am, I'm getting a creeping feeling that they're really going to be aggressive about Malik Willis here.
Really?
Yeah.
No inside information?
No, none.
Just
none. Swear
just
to
a
God.
gut,
Guys, there was inside
gut
information
instinct.
about the coach's stuff. We shared that with you. I got nothing here. You can check my phone. I'm just getting a weird vibe, and maybe I'll hear to the contrary. I don't want to sit there and go guaranteed. I want to know more after the combine, talking to some people who are out there, and just how aggressive they're going to be. Because we're going to hear a lot more about Ty Simpson as time goes on. And we'll hear more about Ty Simpson from Todd McShay coming up at 7:00 when we play that interview we had with him yesterday.
Hopefully, we're hearing more about how we're not drafting Ty Simpson.
Well, we're going to have to be. I'm going to have to find myself being comfortable about a conversation with Ty Simpson. But the more he talks about not having a quarterback, the more I'm thinking, yeah, considering that and what Albert Breer said yesterday, I think we're going to get really aggressive for Green Bay's backup. I'll explain more in 5 minutes. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan.
XTENDAV.
has the inventory you need to keep projects moving. Get better pricing and local expertise today. Visit the Warrensville Heights showroom or choicecabinet.com.
Spring training is underway. Get the biggest news from Florida and Arizona here. Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Whether I like it or not, Todd McShay says we are going to have a conversation about Ty Simpson. Hear that? Coming up at 7 o'clock. Todd McShay from The Ringer. He's on Netflix. McShay13 on Twitter. Yeah, I'm not very comfortable with it, but I've had to have a lot of uncomfortable conversations about the Browns and Cleveland sports, and I'm about to have another one when it comes to Ty Simpson. However, Andrew Berry was asked yesterday about investing in that QB room. Here's what Andrew had to say. You remind?
It's the most important position. We wouldn't talk about it any differently if we were drafting an O lineman or a D lineman or something along those lines. I don't think that you can invest in it enough. I wouldn't put any restraint on it.
So Albert Breer, this is where I'm starting to draw parallels here. Albert Breer was asked yesterday during Afternoon Drive, which you can hear more, 923thefan.com. Albert was asked about Andrew Berry's job security from the boys. Here's his answer.
I don't think that Jimmy Haslam and his family have any intention on moving on from Andrew Berry after this year as it stands now. That said, if you win 2 or 3 games next year, I think everybody knows that the public reaction will likely go a certain way. A lot of fingers are going to be pointed at the GM, and I think AB knows that. You know what I mean? I don't think he's in any sort of position where he's sitting there saying yeah, I have my job in 27. He knows he's got to hit on his draft picks. The good news is they've got a good base of talent out of last year's draft.
The man's missed on a lot of players. He ain't stupid. And he knows this business. And it's leading me to a weird spot. Here's Albert Breer on Malik Willis.
That's an option for the Browns. Is it the option for the Browns? We'll see. Again, this is all relative, and that's the thing that people have to remember is, all of this stuff is subject to supply and demand. And, I think Malik Willis is in a position right now where timing is really good for him. It's not a super deep class free agent. Now, we'll see what happens with Tua Tagovailoa and with Kyler Murray. Those guys in trades, that's one thing. If those teams are forced to cut those guys, that's something else entirely, because now you're talking about, now we got the option out there to go and get these guys maybe at the minimum on an offset, where you look at it a little bit differently. But, that stuff has to evolve over the next couple of weeks. And again, I think Malik Willis is really, really well positioned. How well positioned, I think, does depend on what happens with guys like Kyler or Tua.
You asked me if I had any inside information because of what I just said during the last segment where I'm going, man, I'm getting a stealing feeling that they're going to make an aggressive play at Malik Willis. I have no inside information about that. What I am already getting, though, from people who are over there in Indianapolis right now, what I am getting is that there seems to be a lot of teams because of this draft this year. I think we're going to have ourselves an Adam Silver type conversation with the NFL coming up this year. I think there's some teams that they see the entire package. They see a good quarterback. They see a guy who can be a leader. They see, obviously, a tremendous marketing opportunity, and he's going to be the number 1 pick unless his arm literally comes off his body or he just decides to quit football or does something that we can't even fathom. And I think that there are many teams that are going to position themselves to take that guy. I think that we are going to have ourselves a weird season. And there's going to be some teams that they ain't going to be running backwards, but they ain't going to be trying to win. And if they go after Arch Manning, I think you're going to look at this if you're Andrew Berry and go, we're not good. Our defense is elite. We're not that bad. Now, you can go after Andrew. You can go after Arch Manning or maybe even the number 2 pick there, but that means that you're going to get rid of some players to make sure you do it. That means my ass is grass. But you have 10 picks, and what term do you always use about Malik Willis? You've used the term about what his experience really is, Tone. It's an R word. Go ahead, say it.
That he's a rookie.
That he's a rookie. And all he costs is money. If it's $35 million, what's the number 1 overall pick get as a quarterback? Is it $60 million guaranteed?
No, it's less than that. It's like it's like 40-something
million guaranteed. All right, if I give you $35 million guaranteed, I know it's for 1 or 2 or for 2 years. If I give you $40 million guaranteed, it's only money. It's not picks. I don't have to give a draft pick. If you really believe in that guy, and you do, Anthony, you do. If you really believe in that guy, It's just money. It's not picks. So I've essentially taken a rookie, as you say. I've essentially signed a rookie in free agency that can lead this team, and I don't have to worry about positioning ourselves and getting myself fired for a quarterback that I can't even make a play for. I'm getting a weird feeling that coming up here when free agency starts, they are going to be a very aggressive football team for Malik Willis. I got nothing that tells me other than I'm just trying to connect dots here.
Yeah. Now the one thing. Now you said I believe in him. I've said I don't know how anybody could possibly know. That's why I think he's like a rookie who's had the added benefit of putting some good tape together the last 2 years in spot starts and in relief. So smallest sample size humanly possible. But I was calling into the afternoon show yesterday, and I'm like, imagine that, say, I used the example of Mendoza, but maybe that's a bad example. Maybe it's Ty Simpson. Imagine if Ty Simpson was somebody you'd be looking at that just had his college career end, but also had like 2 games that he got to play last year at an NFL level. So you're comparing him to like Fernando Mendoza, who did everything he did, or all the other guys that are coming out as rookies, but then also got to play a couple of games in the NFL. Like, imagine if that were the case, and then you threw that player into the draft with everybody else. Would that potentially give you pause on some of the other rookies? I don't know. But that's the unique spot with Malik Willis, because all these GMs are basically throwing out his rookie, what you can't even call it a rookie year or experience. He only started like 4 games in those first
That was a terrible situation. It was a terrible situation.
So he didn't even get the experience that Shedeur Sanders got. The difference is he looked really good last year in those appearances. And you get the benefit if you're taking Malik Willis of he got some seasoning in a good situation with Green Bay.
He says they're waiting until next year to be hyper aggressive in free agency. That to me says it's an entire shopping cart full of players. He doesn't say anything about the quarterback position other than we're always wanting to invest in that position. You can't invest enough in it. Well, that's an investment. And
but
then
notice what they're not doing. Notice what Andrew Berry's not doing.
What's that?
He's not just saying, yep, we've got our QB1, and we're looking forward to building around QB1.
Yeah,
notice that. He could say that. He's not going to, and he didn't. And I think that's notable.
I look at this,
and I do wonder what a certain faction of the fan base thinks about that, because when Baker Mayfield, after his rookie year, there was a number 1 overall pick. You had a significant investment in him. But there was no confusion about whose team it was.
I think Andrew could be sitting here going, you sign Malik Willis. You're able to get him on the dotted line, and he only costs money. You still keep that number 6 pick. You're maybe looking at Mekhi Lennon at number 6. Maybe you're looking at Spencer Fano at number 6. Maybe you're looking at Monroe Freeling, who's set to jump up the board at number 6. And maybe you're looking at Denzel Boston at number 24. That gives you a lot of flexibility to do what you want to do with offensive players if you were to bring in Malik Willis this year, and then you get a chance to, quote-unquote, save your job. It's not the best idea, but I'm starting to get an idea that might be very much in play for them. Todd McShay, NFL draft guru. Well, we'll talk about Malik Willis with him, as well as Ty Simpson, whether I like it or not. And who's going to fly up the board this weekend? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, Todd McShay coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan. Window Nation and Joining us on the Make It Right Call Kyle Wright hotline, NFL draft analyst of the McShay Show on The Ringer, as well as on Netflix. Todd McShay joins us on the show. Todd, thanks for joining us.
What's happening, guys? Sorry for the delay here. We've got different AirPods going on, and
you sound excellent to us. You sound excellent to us. But there's another topic I think that we have for later on in the show now, but I'll leave it to later on because I thought it was fantastic. Teamwork, doing it, everything you guys did to make this work. Thank you so much. Todd, first off, Browns at 6, Browns at 24. Your last mock that I saw, now this is just the last one that I saw yesterday, Spencer Fano at 6, Denzel Boston, wide receiver, Washington, number 24. Is that still true, or have things changed for you in your mock? Joining us on the Make It Right Call Kyle Wright hotline, NFL draft analyst of the McShay Show on The Ringer, as well as on Netflix. Todd McShay joins us on the show. Todd, thanks for joining us.
What's happening, guys? Sorry for the delay here. We've got different AirPods going on, and
you sound excellent to us.
Thank
you. Sound excellent to us. But there's another topic I think that we have for later on in the show now, but I'll leave it to later on because I thought it was fantastic. Teamwork, doing it, everything you guys did to make this work. Thank you so much. Todd, first off, Browns at 6, Browns at 24. Your last mock that I saw, now this is just the last one that I saw yesterday, Spencer Fano at 6, Denzel Boston, wide receiver, Washington, number 24. Is that still true, or have things changed for you in your mock?
Conceptually, I think it's where it needs to be. I mean, I know that. Listen, you kind of have to do a combo pick thing here, right? And so when I'm looking at this for Cleveland, my thought process is you've got an offensive line that needs to be addressed, and you've got an offensive line group that is not that deep. You get a wide receiver that needs to be addressed, and you get a wide receiver group that's really deep, right? Like when I look at this wide receiver class, everyone knows the top 3 with Mekhi Lemon, with Carnell Tate, with Jordan Tyson, then Denzel Boston, I think, is just behind them later in the first, as indicated in that mock draft. But you also got the Indiana wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. You've got Chris Brazzell, the second from Tennessee. You've got Malachi Fields from Notre Dame. So I just think that you got a better chance of getting a quality player at 20 or maybe even in round 2 than you do of getting an offensive tackle. Like I got this list in front of me, right? And it drops. You get Spencer Fano, Francis Mawanoa, Monroe Freeling are going to be the top 3 offensive linemen off the board. After that, I think it's going to be Blake Miller from Clemson, and then mixed in that group is Caleb Lomu, the teammate of Fano at Utah. And then I think early second round, it's Max Iheanacho from Arizona State, and then it's like shelf drops off. And so if you don't get one of those guys, or if you really like one of those top 2 or 3 guys, let's go take care of that first, and we can get a receiver a little bit later.
Well, I've heard a couple of different opinions on it. You're the next one up. Got to ask you, can the Browns find a bona fide number 1 in the NFL, not just number 1 wide receiver to the Browns? Can they find that number 1 wide receiver in Denzel Boston or at number 24?
I don't know that does the league even look at it as bona fide number 1? You know, and yes, you'd love to have a Calvin Johnson. You'd love to have, a Jamar Chase and one of those guys. I don't know that there's necessarily one of those guys in this class. The strength of this receiver class is the depth of it. Now, would I rather have Carnell Tate over Denzel Boston? Yeah, I rank him for 3 spots higher, and I have a higher grade on him. So, but again, for me, it's that combination pick. Like, what can I do if I can't protect? Do you know what I mean? Like, how good are my receivers to me if I can't protect the quarterback? And so I don't know. And I'm not saying it's what Cleveland's definitively going to do. I'm not saying it's the only way to skin this cat. But I'm saying, talking to a lot of GMs here this week and getting a much clearer picture of what I already think I had a pretty clear picture on, but knowing there's a little bit more consensus, there are positions of strength and there are positions that don't have the strength. And you got this class that maybe doesn't have as many really good players as some other years. And so you've got to choose wisely when you choose those positions. That's kind of the truth. We've sat down with, I think, 4 GMs already this week and talked to several other guys in the league. Like, I think this is a strategy draft about when you pick a position, is more so than it normally has been in years past.
All right, Todd. So given where the Browns are, like, you don't see anybody getting ahead of the Browns that would make it so that, they would be at a disadvantageous position at offensive line there at 6. Like, you think they're going to get somebody good if they want to go offensive line there, they're going to be fine.
I actually think they have a chance. I'm not saying it's a lock, but I think there's a chance at 6 that they could have the choice of the top offensive lineman. I'm not saying, but like, as we get closer, I think the love for some of these edge defenders, and you watch the Super Bowl and you like it kind of a reactionary, but it's also the strength of this entire class. I would say edge is the best group in this year's draft class, and then wide receiver after that. And so wide receiver runs really deep, and edge does too. But the guys at the top, those first round guys are true difference makers. And so I don't see David Bailey lasting to 6. I think there's a strong, Arvell Reese isn't lasting to 6. I think there's a chance that maybe you see Ruben Bain come off the board by 6, and that would have surprised some people. And then you look at, I don't think Jeremiah Love's going to go there, but he's 1 or 2 on most teams' boards. We know Fernando Mendoza is going to go number 1 overall. And then if, let's say, the Giants maybe take a wide receiver at 5, then there is a chance you could wind up with your pick of the litter. But there's also a chance that you look at 3 with Arizona. That's a possibility for offensive line. 4 with the Titans. But I think the Titans also could go edge, and I think the Titans could also go wide receiver there. So there's a couple teams that are all looking offensive line, edge, and wide receiver. And so it kind of depends on how that shakes out. And if they all have the same theory as I do, take care of the lines before we do wide receiver, then you guys it'll be interesting to see what's sitting there for you at number 6.
Todd McShay joining us here at McShay13 on Twitter. Of course, you can watch him. You can hear him on The Ringer. You can watch him on Netflix as well. All right, Fernando Mendoza. If this was like 2018, where would Fernando Mendoza be in the first round?
2018?
The Baker draft.
Yeah, Baker, Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson, right? Those 5?
Sir. Yep.
Okay. Oh, good question. So I was a Darnold guy, number 1. That was the clear cut for me. And it's easier to say that now. And I kind of want to give the FU tour to everyone who was in my mentions and said all those kind things about me for years. Baker, then Josh Allen. It was like, I would say, honestly, are you talking about at the time?
At the time.
At the time. I think the conversation would have been for me with Baker and Mendoza at the time.
Okay.
And I love Baker and I love Fernando. They're coming in from different angles. Like Baker, I was worried, can he hold up? He's an absolute renegade. At that time, is this system going to work, or there are enough examples? But my gosh, I love Bake, man. Like I was on the sideline with him at senior night, Rose Bowl, watching him interact with the teammates and the offensive line, fighting against that Georgia defense all night. Like I loved a lot of things about him, but you look at Fernando, and I think the first thing that stands out to you on tape, my gosh, is this dude tough. Like that first hit he takes in the college football playoff game, some of the hits he took throughout the year, some of the mental toughness he had to show. Like every great play that he had, every like iconic Mendoza moment he had this year, it came after something he either screwed up or was going really wrong. Like there was it was a pick 6 in Oregon. Mm-hmm. It was a bad pick against Iowa. He had mistakes kind of in games or ineffectiveness in the college football playoff. The Penn State game, he had the pick early in that fourth quarter, right? Yep. And the mental toughness he showed throughout all of that is, to me, that's the jumping off point. And it's like, with Tom Brady, part of the decision-making, a big part of the decision-making process in Las Vegas. I think he probably sees a lot of similarities in a young Tom Brady to what we see in Mendoza now.
Well, especially because the reason I ask is that, you do the draft, we got to do all we got to do all this different content and stuff. So I think people start saying things that maybe they don't mean to drive content. And it's like, it's a 1 quarterback draft. And I'm like, all right, I'm already hearing some of are we sure about Mendoza? Are we sure about him?
No, let's have an honest conversation because I absolutely love Fernando. Let's really talk about it for a second. I have not talked to a general manager in the league or a high ranking official, like a director who wouldn't take Fernando in Las Vegas situation and doesn't believe that he's the best quarterback in this class, and I haven't talked to anyone that doesn't believe he can be a really good, like maybe potentially the right setting, everything around him, develop properly, a top 10 quarterback in the league one day. Okay. But I also haven't talked to a single general manager or director or someone who I trust in scouting that thinks he's like the guy, like Caleb was coming out, Jaden was, Drake May was. Most people have Cam Ward either similar grade or slightly higher because of the physical tools, right? So there have been real conversations in the league. Like, forget, you can talk about the media, you can talk about this and that. I'm just talking about the conversations I have with people who are actually making these decisions. It's like, I would consider the Jets with all their capital and where we are organizationally. Are we ready to bring in Fernando? Or are we putting him in a situation where he's not, equipped and as well as he runs on a straight line and as smart as he is in processing? He's come from a system that really helped him. There was some RPO stuff. There were one reads and there was two by two and let's read the cornerback. And then when pressure comes, he's not a twitch guy. He's more like a Daniel Jones or even a Tyler Shuck, where it's get him going and he's dangerous, but it's not that initial stuff. So you have all those conversations and people are just kind of thinking it through. If you got the right deal, and now we're looking at next year's draft, Arch, Dante, Sorsby, Julian Sayin, CJ Carr. Yeah, there's like 10 or 11 guys, right? And especially Arch and Dante. Could there be a deal that would be worth it? And so if some of us don't think that maybe that we as the Raiders would want to turn down a great offer, would there be another organization that would want to give it away? So those are real conversations, man. That I'm not saying I don't like Fernando. I'm not saying that he's not going to be a great quarterback in the league. But it's my job to relay some of the conversations I'm having with people in the league. And that's like a realistic conversation. Now, I'm also told, like, close the book on it. Don't bother talking about it again, as I'm doing right now, and let it go, because the Raiders are absolutely, positively sticking at number one and taking Fernando Mendoza. And no one's going to blame him for that,
Well, what I find fascinating is the reason Ken asked you that question at the start is to see where the evaluators have each of these quarterbacks depending on the year. We keep hearing what a bad quarterback draft this is. And in fact, you mentioned Dante Moore. I mean, imagine the conversations we'd be having if he were available in this draft all of a sudden. Somebody who had started so few games in the NFL, in college. So what I find very interesting is that people talk about stats and the players that all are around Mendoza. His stats were not great compared to Heisman Trophy winners in the past. He obviously had a running first team, or team that certainly could rely on the run in big games. And are we supposed to dock Mendoza for that when I'm watching him in all these games make NFL back shoulder throws time and time again?
Mendoza's a dude, man. Like he's a nerd where you need to be a nerd. He's an absolute linebacker tough guy where you need to be that. You watch him on the field, and I talked to a head coach in the league. He made this point to me maybe in December when we talked. And he goes, watch him. He goes, this is what I do when I want to know. I watch the city guys and I watch the country boys. And are they all, and they're like, he's like, they love him. It doesn't matter what the background is, doesn't matter what, anything else. They all love this guy. And so, yeah, he's quirky. He's got some wild interviews that are interesting and different and all that. But the players in the locker room love this guy. And he's got juice in his arm, and he's 6'5", and he's 220 pounds, and he can run on a straight line, and he delivered in the biggest moments for a program that had never sniffed this. And so, yeah, you can he's not as talented as Caleb. He's not as talented as Drake. He's not as talented as Jaden. But Tom Brady wasn't as talented as a lot of those guys either. And so does he have the makeup? And he's shown signs that maybe he does, to become a great quarterback in the league. So that's where I stand on it. Like, it's our job to evaluate the talent and to explain that to everybody, but it's also my job to say what I pulled the trigger on this guy, and do I believe in him? And my answer is unequivocally yes.
Todd McShay joining us on the show. How much is Ty Simpson proving by throwing this week?
I actually think listen, I want everyone to work out and I want everyone to throw. I understand both sides of the argument with it, okay? I think for some quarterbacks it's more important, and I think for Ty it's more important than some, because he was down to 190 in the Rose Bowl. He wasn't throwing the same way. He had dealt with an offensive line that kind of had the protections figured out, when starting with Venables in that first Oklahoma game. Also with a run game that was like 126 in the FBS. It was atrocious. Like Bear Bryant is rolling around in his grave, just like kicking and swearing, right? And so all those things. Oh, and by the way, his star wide receiver is supposed to be as good as Jeremiah Smith. His 1A and 1B coming out in recruiting, Ryan Williams, just like disappeared. And so I think it's important. I would argue 9 games into the season, Ty Simpson was the best quarterback in college football. Better than Fernando. If you go look at that timeline and how Fernando was playing versus Ty Simpson was the better quarterback. But from that point on, Fernando went like, and Ty just went, okay? And so it's important for him to come out and show, I'm 210 now, I'm not 190. I look healthy and I'm bouncing around and I've got the juice in my arm that I actually see on tape. And I'm ready to compete. And what you saw at the end of the year was not reflective of who I am and what I'm going to be in the NFL. I think this is kind of the starting off, the jumping point, if you will. And then I think where he's going to excel is meeting with teams, getting on the board, watching old tape, explaining some of the mistakes and things that happened late in the season, because he's a coach's son. He was around Nick for a couple years and went up against those defenses. He was developed by Caleb DeBoer and Ryan Grubbs, who was in the NFL as well. An 18-year head coach, Middle Tennessee State is not something to ignore as your father. And so he's just been around ball and he can talk the same language and he knows the same important things to discuss. And so I think he's going to excel in this process. I love him, but the inexperience you can't overlook. The durability concerns have to be there. And the size doesn't match up with some of the guys that are actually lasting for an entire season and making deep runs into the playoffs. So there's some definite knocks against him, but I'm definitely on the high side with Ty Simpson. I don't want to say die on that mountain, but I'm certainly going to lead a charge that I think he can be a really good starter in the league if in the right system. And quite frankly, I'd love to see him with the Rams and McVay with a year behind Stafford.
You're muted, Tone.
I'm glad you told him, not me.
Yeah, you're muted.
Sound like you had a good question. He's like passionate about it.
Oh, he was now.
Now he's getting agitated.
Oh, now you don't got it. All right. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and ask it. We'll make fun of Tone later. All right.
I do. You know what? Let's do this real quickly while he's getting his mic. Let's go back to the question you asked earlier. Let's go through the top 5 right now.
Okay.
So we got Mendoza going 1, right?
Yeah.
The Jets are sitting at. What's that?
Are you talking about 2018 or now?
No, right now.
Oh, Jesus.
No, I'm saying let's just go through the top 5 picks together.
Oh, okay.
So that we can figure out what could be there for Cleveland. I feel like I kind of gave you. So we got 1 is Mendoza. So we're going to do a little flash mock right now for you.
2.
Jets.
Who do you got?
I saw Kuiper today. Someone had it on social that he gave him Caleb Downs. Good on you, Kuiper. I don't know that going safety in that moment. I love Caleb Downs. I've got him 4 overall in this class. I think after the world sees what Arvell Reese does here in Indianapolis, I think there's going to be a different animal. And I think David Bailey's a better pass rusher right now. But let's scratch in Arvell Reese there.
All right. Who do you got at 3?
Arizona, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're the first team that really wants to go offensive line, but I think they're going to look at this edge class. Let's go David Bailey there.
Okay. Number 4. I'm writing them down as we go.
4's Tennessee, right?
Yes.
Just talked to Mike Borgonzi for like 40 minutes. I probably should have asked him, huh? He was that was Poles was talking about the defensive side. I mean, I know what their needs are. I'm just trying to see if I could pull anything from that interview.
I had a bad feeling you're going to put me in a tough spot.
They need I could see them going Carnell Tate there.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to want to get Dable. They got their defensive coaches. They're going to go, I'm going to guess they go Carnell Tate there.
All right, number 5 is the Giants.
I don't think they'd go Mekhi Lemon, even though I think he's going to be a star. I think they could. I could see them going Maui Noah there.
You're going to get me killed.
Why?
Listen, I'm not an Ohio State guy. Anthony is.
Okay.
If Caleb Downs is there at 6, I know he's a safety. What am I supposed to do, Todd?
See, this is why we do this.
I know. What am I supposed to do? If we're talking best player available, but I also know that they're going to be outside the gates with torches and pitchforks because we didn't draft offense.
I mean, that's why it's not an easy chair to sit in. I promise you. But I also can tell you, Mekhi Lemon's going to be a star. But I also think you got to protect your quarterback, and you got Spencer Fano sitting there, and a lot of people think he's the best offensive tackle in this draft. And I promise you, Monroe Freeling's going to start to climb after he works out the way he does, but he's only got, I think, 13 starts out of Georgia. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm glad we did this. It's a good exercise.
Fine, I'll take Spencer Fano.
Okay.
I'll go with you. Thank you.
I'm glad we worked this out.
Find him on Twitter. If you are, I mean, you got 700,000 followers. They probably did, but still, McShay 13. Watch him on Netflix. Listen to him on The Ringer. Todd, thank you so much for the time.
You got it, guys.
Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
But it's also the strength of this entire class. I would say edge is the best group in this year's draft class, and then wide receiver after that. And so wide receiver runs really deep, and edge does too. But the guys at the top, those first-round guys are true difference makers. And so I don't see David Bailey lasting to 6.
That is Todd McShay from The Ringer, from Netflix. NFL Draft Guru live from the Combine with us yesterday. That was yesterday live, I should say. We played that for you at 7 o'clock. We did ask several questions to Todd about Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson. I'll get into those a little bit later on. However, he says the Browns maybe can find their number 1 wide receiver at number 6 overall.
Can the Browns find a bona fide number 1 in the NFL, not just number 1 wide receiver to the Browns? Can they find that number 1 wide receiver in Denzel Boston or at number 24?
I don't know that does the league even look at it as bona fide number 1? You know, and yes, you'd love to have a Calvin Johnson. You'd love to have, a Jamar Chase and one of those guys. I don't know that there's necessarily one of those guys in this class. The strength of this receiver class is the depth of it. Now, would I rather have Carnell Tate over Denzel Boston? Yeah, I rank him for 3 spots higher, and I have a higher grade on him. So, but again, for me, it's that combination pick. Like, what can I do if I can't protect? Do you know what I mean? Like, how good are my receivers to me if I can't protect the quarterback?
That's Todd McShay with us yesterday. What'd you think of that answer? Because I have another thing I kind of want to bring up with you from something Andrew Berry had said yesterday.
Yeah, obviously, it's been disappointing for me to talk about this draft because I've been so focused on just offensive line. And Kenny, I hate this, but I have to defer to you on offensive line stuff.
Oh, please
so
do.
I gotta sit here every day, and I'm never gonna be the guy that's gonna have these huge, grandiose opinions, flame-throwing opinions on offensive linemen. I just kind of punt it over to Kenny. And so it's not as sexy like down at the Combine. There's such a difference. Like if we were drafting a quarterback with our top pick, this whole show would be at the Combine this week. This whole station would be there. Yeah. It's offensive line. So we could open up the phones and ask people, what offensive lineman do you want? And it would kind of be some of the most boring sports talk radio you can imagine. Not to you. You'd be loving it. We'd be playing nitty-gritty football.
Yeah,
Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas would be.
You know what? I got to, hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. I got to write down an idea for later.
So obviously, listening to Todd McShay,
right next Joe Thomas. That's a good idea.
Well, we should probably do that. Why didn't they think of that? So
Joe's been whooping people's ass in the courtroom, according to Instagram.
I know. So I'm just sitting here listening to Todd McShay going, I get it. I get it that wide receivers are the sexier position, but it kind of feels like we have to go offensive line at 6.
Well, I don't know if we do. I don't know if we do. I mean, I love offensive linemen. And I think that this is going to be a back and forth because I want to do something. I want to play something that Andrew Berry said yesterday. And it is part of the reason why. And there's a couple people on hold, and I think I'm going to answer their question here. But I think it's part of the reason why I think that they might be a little bit aggressive about Malik Willis. Go ahead, hit it.
Not necessarily. I guess thinking about the offensive line, I actually think what Chicago and what Ryan Poles did last year is a really nice model. If you think about it, they did a combination of internal development, veteran additions, and draft, right? You had Darnell Wright, who he really came into his own at right tackle this past year. They traded for Joe Thuney. They traded for Jonah Jackson. They signed Dahlman in free agency, and they drafted Ozzie Dean Trapilo in the 2nd round. So it's a nice mixture of like youth and experience, and I think that, we would look to take a similar approach if the player markets line up for us.
All right, I understand what he's saying. It's still, to me, it's not I think they're more the exception, not the rule. Because if you look at Chicago, they have a plethora. They have one of the best weapon cores I think I've seen in quite a while. They got weapons falling out of their pockets, man. Where if they really needed an offensive lineman that bad and they wanted to test somebody else, I mean, they could break the glass on that if they wanted to. I don't know their cap situation or anything right off the top of my head. But, I mean, when you're looking at DJ Moore, and Roma Dunze's banged up, you got Colston Loveland, you got Cole Kmet, you got, Judas Priest, you got DeAndre Swift, you got Carman. You got guys. You just got dudes. And I think that because of the type of quarterback they have, where Caleb Williams is an off-schedule guy, he's going to run around, he's going to do some things differently. Because of the type of quarterback they have, I think that I think that they're a little bit smoke and mirror on that. They ran the ball very well. Again, you got dudes running the ball. If your offensive line isn't that great, you always move forward better than you move backwards. And Caleb Williams is a guy who can get out of trouble. So I think that it was the protection, I think, was a little overrated. Listen, they made the playoffs. They won a playoff game. I'm not going to sit there and rip the Bears. What Ryan Poles did worked. All right, it worked. But I don't think that's going to work for everybody else. So when we're talking about free agents, I'm always very much buyer beware, buyer beware, buyer beware on all that stuff. But, I mean, if you get to the point, like we had Todd McShay, and I wasn't even thinking, because I've been getting ready for a big argument. I'm sorry. I've been getting ready for a big argument about defense and Caleb Downs and all that stuff. And when Todd was on with us and Todd says, Mekhi Lemon, I'm going, totally forgot about him during the interview. Totally forgot about him. And I'm an offensive line guy, and I hate doing it because I'm an excitable boy, and I don't like having to be the guy who's basically the dad on vacation going, I really don't think we can do that, boys. We really got to make sure that we're being responsible here. Wide receivers are fun. Offensive linemen are taking out the garbage, paying the mortgage, making sure the heat's working. Like, it's all
and the other part,
not
you're
fun
right.
stuff.
And the other part of it is knowing first year could be rough with that new offensive lineman. While great wide receivers, I mean, Malik Neighbors, right immediately. Jamar Chase, immediately.
I know.
Making an impact.
know.
Most offensive linemen really struggle especially the first half of the first year.
And you're going, okay, then why would I do that? Well, if Barry is using the Bears, and this is dangerous, if Barry is using the Bears as an example, I don't think he's just going to go full bore Bears and what the Bears did with their offensive line. But if he's using them as an example, that might be a little bit of a look into, all right, well, you can bring in a guy who's played in the NFL before, who is obviously runs like a running back, who can get out of the way with everybody, who's a very dynamic athlete, who has definitely grown as a passer over the last 4 years. You could do that. Give him a wide receiver in Mekhi Lemon, be a little bit back, or Lemon, and be back in the draft and maybe take an offensive lineman a little bit later on. Now, Monroe Freeling, he had mentioned it like that before a couple of weeks ago. I think we had a couple of people on from CBS. They were kind of kicking around Monroe Freeling to the Browns at like 24, back into the first round. Todd McShay says, and there's a lot of Browns fans already on it, like, this guy's going to fly up the draft board after this weekend. I don't know if you're going to have a shot at him at number 24. But are you going to be able to take an offensive lineman and plug him in and be a little bit better off? Because our Achilles heel has been wide receivers with this football team. I mean, you've been able to identify one in a trade, and that's it. You had a little bit with Dorian Thompson-Robinson there, but it has been a blind spot for Andrew Berry. There'd be nothing better than to look at your blind spot and say, I'm fixing it, better than something that we all see. Whereas Mekhi Lemon or Carnell Tate, you know that they have talent. You know that they can be a wide receiver one for you. That's something that you're going to have to consider, and that's something I think Andrew Berry is very well going to consider. Because if you got a guy who can deal with people buzzing the tower, it's going to happen, then you can still move your offense. You can still do that because you're going to hope that Jerry Jeudy in year 3 is going to go back to what he did in year 1. You're hoping Harold Fannin Jr. can do things for you. There's going to be like Charlie Kohler is going to be available. Maybe Isaiah Likely. Of course, I haven't heard many things about him lately, so maybe I'm talking out of my ass on that situation. I just want to make sure I'm right about that. There's going to be other options that you have at even a tight end position. 216-474-0092. So there's possibilities there. Todd McShay joined us yesterday. I want to talk more about that coming up at 8 o'clock. Also, Joe Varden, 8:20 this morning. Are we back in the finals, everybody? I'm waiting for all the naysayers to say the things that they were saying back on Monday. I want to know from all. I know people are watching me on YouTube Live, and I'm doing the ear thing. I get it. I want to know from Joe Varden, are we penciled back into the finals after the win over the New York Knicks? And the honeymoon is over in Cleveland. We're getting down to business with these Cavs and James Harden. But there's somebody who, after last night, definitely wants to renew his vows with us. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, about last night, next on The Fan. Peter and Company.
Joining us on the Make It Right Call Kyle Wright hotline, NFL.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0, no one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him, how he couldn't please his wife, and so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Well, you missed something with LeBron last night. LeBron missed a game-winning shot, and did he blame his teammate?
I'm not sure. I mean, obviously you have to ask Luka what he saw on that, but I thought he had a good look, and it looked like he kind of just lost his balance. You know, didn't have a rhythm with the ball, whatever the case may be, and it kind of allowed him to get back in front of him. You know, I was kind of off balance when he gave it to me. I thought he had a great look, but no, that's what I looked. That's my POV.
I mean, that's awful.
Over.
How do you blame your teammate?
Well, wait a minute. He's not quick to blame a lot of people, so maybe it is his teammate's fault. You ever think he was telling the truth?
It depends on that.
I mean, when is it ever okay to blame your teammate in sports media?
I just love, like, the seeds were planted very early in the season with this sale of the Lakers, and then all the behind-the-scenes stuff coming out. And it's hard to believe. Like, LeBron's been there 8 years. Like, that's an incredible amount of time that he has been with Los Angeles and been their number one guy. They bring in Luka. He's obviously the future. And Luka just oddly didn't shoot that three last night and then throws it to LeBron like, you figure it out. And LeBron almost makes this turnaround fade away from like 26 feet, 27 feet. He still had 21 points on 8 of 13 last night. LeBron. Like, he is still doing so much. He's not the player he was, but he's still a big-time imposing guy at times. He just kind of has to, pace himself throughout the course of a game.
End is near.
But this is over for him in L.A. He is not staying in Los Angeles. Do you see Bill Simmons say his working theory has been that now he's not going to Cleveland?
I'm glad you brought this up.
He's going to Golden State?
Well, he's just tired. He wants to see something different. He wants to see something. No, I think this guy cares very much about legacy. It's either here or the Lakers, and right now it's not looking good with the Lakers. Plus, I mean, look at the sell job. Now, you could do a great job of selling a lot. What if Steph Curry decided it was his last year too, and they call it the last hurrah?
Wait, and they get to go? They both go somewhere else?
Well, no, they both stay at Golden State.
There's no way Steph Curry leaves Golden State. There's
No,
way.
I'm saying if Steph
Should go
Curry,
to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Bill Simmons' theory is that he stays. Steph Curry stays.
Yeah.
So then LeBron would add on. What if they decided that they call it their zone? Like, you can't call it the last dance. Michael Jordan wins in court. They'll get their asses sued off. But they call it like the last hurrah, the last waltz. If you want to do music with it, well, then maybe that would sell. It's a thought.
Well, look, LeBron's last year, wherever it is going to be a big deal. And playing with Steph Curry would be a big deal. I still don't think it moves the needle like coming back to Cleveland.
No, I don't think so. But
I'd heard a local radio show host said it was like $40 to $70 million in streaming rights.
They're all talking about it.
I saw that on the Shannon Sharp podcast.
Oh, okay.
They're all talking about Anthony Lima and $40 to $70 million on streaming. Go ahead.
So everybody at the Combine, we were worried about Andrew Berry, but we really should have been worried about what Robert Saleh said yesterday about Brown's new DC, Mike Rutenberg.
If Gus wasn't our coordinator, he was going to be our coordinator here. Outstanding human, outstanding individual. He's going to bring so much juice and energy. He is as authentic gets. He's elite with regards to the pass game and from a defensive standpoint. He's walking into a situation where he's already got an elite staff in place. Guys like Tarver and their DB room and their D-line, they're outstanding, and I think he's going to be a fantastic addition. Really proud of him. Really excited for himself.
So at face value, he's complimenting Mike Rutenberg here. But
this is interesting. You said to be concerned about this. Why am I concerned?
Well, why didn't Robert Saleh go with him? Now, I think the main reason is the fact that he had no DC experience before. But why didn't he go with him? Why
didn't he go with Robert Saleh? Is what you're saying?
No, why didn't Robert Saleh go with Mike Rutenberg?
What?
Yeah, so Robert Saleh said that the DC, that Gus Bradley was the first choice, Mike Rutenberg was the second choice for that position.
Because he was the second choice?
Yeah. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
Why isn't that a good thing?
Because the Browns took forever to hire a defensive coordinator, right? Why didn't Robert Saleh want Mike Rutenberg?
Right,
I want to know why.
I'm getting what you're saying. He was the second choice. Quote unquote, the second choice for the Browns. They wanted to keep Jim Schwartz. You wanted the guy with more experience and the more success. So it's not a nasty thing towards Mike Rutenberg.
No,
he just doesn't have a lot of experience in that role. We'll find out more. But what Robert Saleh says is true. You have a lot of guys who are experienced around him. They're bringing in Dom Capers as a special assistant, which some people got nasty about that. Guys, Tom Moore is everybody's great-grandfather who they love. He's 177 years old. Everybody loves Tom Moore. Let's not be ageist about this. Dom Capers can help out. Maybe a little bit too much on the hair gel, but still definitely can help out. And Mike Rutenberg hopefully will do a good job. We'll see, but I'm not taking any nastiness towards I like where your head's at because it makes me think, but I don't think that there's anything nasty towards Robert Saleh or Mike Rutenberg or anything like that, or that he's lying about Mike Rutenberg and his possibilities.
I had no idea this was such a controversy yesterday. So, you know what? Look, it's been well chronicled. They're all first-timers. First-time head coach, first-time coordinators. Yep.
Well, there's new rules in the UFL now. There's a bunch of them. The one I like most, the 4.60-yard field goal, that changes everything.
So I thought about this. This adds a lot of dynamics to it. You don't like it because it's putting more on kickers.
It's giving kickers even more making it more of an impact, giving them even more power. I want less kicking. I want kickers out of the game.
But this is the thing to it. Here's the deal. As I thought about this on the fly yesterday on 8, is that if you kick a 60-yard field goal, you're up for 4 points. But if you miss it, they're going to get the ball where? But if you're kicking the ball, it's great field position. But remember, the other rule is that you can't punt inside the 50 except within 2 minutes and a half or the end of the game.
Something like that.
So you can't punt within the 50.
Which is a great rule.
If you're kicking, do you get the ball from where the ball is snapped or where the ball is spotted on the kick?
Spotted.
Okay, so if you're kicking a 60-yard field goal, it's at the 50-yard line. The team that gets the ball can't punt, right?
Ooh,
right? I see what you're saying, yeah.
So you can't just give them the ball, and they got to go down and they got to score. They got to try their own 60-yard field goal. And at the end of the game, it's going to be interesting. What do you do?
That's where you like to see the game played at midfield.
Yeah, right. Forget about the red zones. We've got midfield action.
Do you go for a 60-yard field goal if you're down by 3? Or if you say you're down by 4, you got to be able. Well, do you score now?
Yeah,
you got to score.
I like the game planning
of
it
stuff.
from
so
a
there's
coaching
good strategy,
perspective.
right? There's good strategy to
And yet,
incorporate.
I don't want to see the logo in the middle of the field the whole time in a game. I would prefer to see the end zones.
No better way to test it out than with the UFL. It's a great league to test out things for the big boys, man. You got to admit.
There are a lot of things I'd like to see the NBA test.
Yeah.
With everybody complaining
With
about
the UFL.
the way it's played. And yes, the UFL should incorporate a 3-point line. Yeah.
Now, but what do you think of their overtime rule? You get 3 chances from the 5-yard line. I disagree. I think college football 8 years ago perfected overtime where you get the ball from the 25.
Yeah, real quick, they want to take some of the hitting out. It eliminates some of the crashes. But when you have, what was it? Was it Illinois Penn State that went like
9
10
overtime?
over?
Yeah, I don't like the final scores of college overtime.
Yeah, it gets a little silly.
I don't like that. But I actually, I got to say, believe it or not, I'm with John. Like, I kind of like the college format. Maybe it's because Ohio State won a national championship with
that was
that
the old
format.
one. That was the old one.
That's the
now
one.
It's you go for now. It's after the double overtime.
Yeah,
you have to
gotta
go for
2,
which is I think is the dumbest thing ever. And I was on the sideline for that Illinois Penn State overtime game. Start from the 25, play real football.
Congratulations on all your
Well, John,
success.
they did that because they got sued and they had to have a class action lawsuit about concussion, so they had to take out a lot of the hitting.
Okay.
So you're not on the side of the players, John? Is that what you're trying to say?
I just think that you starting from the 25 is great. I don't like the 2-point conversion play. That's not football. The same way the tush push, which is also banned in the UFL, a lot of people say that's not football.
Can I share one theory about that when we come back? Let me share one theory about that because I think the NFL is finding a way to police this without having to take the play out of the game if they don't want to. Let me share one theory about that. And I don't want to talk about this guy. Damn it, this weekend, you're all going to force me to talk about this guy. You can already see it because of the desperation. Who is the guy? I'll tell you who. Coming up in 5 on The Fan with Joe Varden at 8:20 on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima.
latest Cavs news up until tip-off. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. Cleveland's Sports Radio. 92.3 The Fan.
I would argue 9 games into the season, Ty Simpson was the best quarterback in college football. Better than Fernando. If you go look at that timeline and how Fernando was playing versus Ty Simpson was the better quarterback. But from that point on, Fernando went like, and Ty just went.
Strong commentary from Todd McShay. You can hear that entire interview, 923thefan.com. Can I say real quick
you
about...
You got to see what his hand is doing in that, because without being able to see it, you don't know, is he saying up or down?
Yeah.
He's just making sound effects.
No, I said I was going to do this real quick, so I got to do it, because I said I was going to do it here in this segment. We got Joe Varden coming up at 8:20, so I got to get this in while the getting's good. Can I share a little bit of a theory with you about the whole Tush Push thing? What John was bringing up about the UFL, where they've eliminated the Tush Push, and he reminded me I wanted to share this with you and throw it by you. It seems that the NFL is not going to put the Tush Push on the table this year, right? Correct?
Yep.
Okay, but you notice that they also have where the replay official can throw a flag. Remember what we saw last year? I think it was either the Amazon broadcast or the NBC broadcast where they slowed things down. I think it was the NBC where they slowed things down and you saw guards moving before the snap. I wonder if that's a way to police that play without having to take a play out of the game. Where they're like, hey, we're going to slow it down, and if we see you jumping off sides or see you violating the neutral zone, we're going to throw the flag and we're going to back you up 5 yards.
I like that as a theory, because the reality is they can't officiate the play anymore. Nobody can tell, A, where the ball is.
Because there was a whole thing with the naked eye.
Where they can be. There's bodies all over the place. Guys are moving early. It's a play you can't even officiate.
But how much is that going to affect the regular 3rd and 13 where the left tackle gets that, 10th of a second head start? Because that happens a ton too and doesn't get called.
It happens Kansas
and how
City.
many times is it going to happen to a guy like, I don't know, Myles Garrett, who has such a great jump to the naked eye?
So it's going to be annoying.
And it looks like he's off there.
But it looks like
that could slow the game to a crawl.
Lisa, we're seeing right now in spring training, guys, they're calling pitches strikes, and they're going back and reviewing on that new system, that ABS system, and it's missing by 1/100th of a millimeter. And they're like, oh, that was a ball. Is that going to be the same thing where they go, oh, he jumped by 1/10,000th of a second, and now?
Well, I think they will, because I think they want to discourage it. I don't know about the Myles Garrett stuff. I think they're like the replay official will just be like, yeah, we didn't see anything. I'm telling you, I think with that Tush Push, I think they're going to try to discourage it with that.
And you're right. Myles,
I get that. I just
Myles
wonder how.
probably had, this is total ballpark estimate, but I saw other fans bitching all year. He probably had 7 sacks where you could slow it down and say, oh no, they're going to take that off the board now.
Sack 23 was
Right.
he was anticipating snap count and jumped that thing so quick. There was no way they were blocking him.
So John reminded me, and I wanted to make sure that I put that out there. I know that we got some Ty Simpson conversation that I'm going to be very annoyed by, but maybe it's just because I don't see. I'm in a place where I don't want the Browns to make a sincere mistake that's going to cost them time. Us time as fans. I don't want to waste any more time. So Todd McShay brings up how he loves Ty Simpson right here, how inexperienced things are, but boy, he thought he was even better than Fernando Mendoza.
I love him, but the inexperience you can't overlook. The durability concerns have to be there. And the size doesn't match up with some of the guys that are actually lasting for an entire season and making deep runs into the playoffs. So there's some definite knocks against him, but I'm definitely on the high side with Ty Simpson. I don't want to say die on that mountain, but I'm certainly going to lead a charge that I think he can be a really good starter in the league if in the right system. And quite frankly, I'd love to see him with the Rams and McVay with a year behind Stafford.
So I got a long memory. And he, by the way, he said better than Mendoza 8 games through the season is what he was saying, not the entirety of the year or anything like that. So I got a long memory. I got to go back to 2022 in that offseason. You remember we had a big argument about who QB1 should be out of the draft. We had the number 1 overall pick. I thought it was going to be Sam Darnold. Still like Sam Darnold. There's a lot of things going around, people doing victory laps. Even Todd was making jokes about that when we talked to him. But I remember, Dustin was such a huge fan of Baker Mayfield. And I decided, I was like, hey, let me have an open mind about this. Because you don't want to be in a situation where they take the guy and then you got to, I didn't say anything about it, man. Do I have to be a bit more open-minded? Because I've been pretty stubborn this entire process, going absolutely not. And it's not about him being a bad guy or even a bad quarterback. I just don't think that this is a good situation. I don't think he has enough experience. I don't think that he's big and strong enough to handle the type of beating that he's going to take in the NFL. I mean, Baker had some pudding, so he was okay to deal with some of the beatings that he took. And even then, he got banged up. He got banged up this year. So there's a lot of things I would say no to Ty Simpson, but we're as desperate as we've ever been in the NFL. Not everybody's going to – I gave you my theory about the whole Arch Manning thing. Not everybody's going to be able to take Arch Manning. And if you're down there, when we get past pick 10, is maybe some teams are going to get a little bit desperate. And I think that you look at a guy who all of a sudden would be borderline first round, ends up being mid-first round. And are we the type of team that would do something like that? I'm asking you if I should just be a little bit more open-minded about Ty Simpson and willing to have this conversation.
See, I'm with you. I don't want to be open-minded about him. Like, wow. This is where we've been pigeonholed into anybody but Shedeur Sanders, and I'm trying to tell you, no, that's not the case at all. Like, I haven't wanted Anthony Richardson. I talked about Kyler Murray, but I didn't want him. I just tried to explain there are good things about him, but I didn't want him.
I'm steadfast against him and Tua.
I
said
right.
I'd rather play with 10.
Right, although, Albert Breer said yesterday on the afternoon show, like, well, if he's available for free and with the offset language, like, that does that change the discussion? Either way, Ty Simpson, his size too, his lack of weight, and I know he was injured, throughout the second half of the year. That was part of him plummeting. So you want to be fair to him. Mm-hmm. But I think in their playoff game or whatever, what was he down to? He was down to play at 185.
Todd said that. His weight dropped, because weights do drop during the season for a lot of guys. His weight dropped to 183 or something like that.
And I know he'll get it back up, and I'm sure the measurables.
Are you going to keep it on during the year, though?
Well, that's obviously the thing, and injury concerns when you've got kind of that thing going for you already heading into the league. So look, I want to be fair, but I don't think it makes sense. I just don't think that makes sense right now for the Browns. Like, I would just rather go with Shedeur in a competition.
See, that's where I'm at. And by the way, that's Tone saying that. I want everybody to know, the guy who everybody thinks is a hater, what did he just say? So I'm sure you guys will still send him nasty DMs, but that's where we're at. I think sometimes to make our point, we start taking nasty personal shots at people because we don't want them, and we don't want our teams to make mistakes at taking guys we don't want. I haven't heard anything terrible about Ty Simpson as a guy. I haven't heard anything terrible about Ty Simpson as a quarterback. The things I've heard about him are good things. As a coach's son, like Todd was saying, he's grown up in the game. He's been around high-level coaching his entire life. Some of the biggest names that you could find in college football in the game, he's been around. There's a lot of things that you would like. But when you're telling me, gosh, only a handful, basically 15 games and all those other things, I'm just like, man, this is not the great place for him. And it seems like such a typical desperate Browns move where you make this decision, you give him the starting spot, and then we go into 2027 and go, well, he showed some flashes. You really can't just give up on a first-round pick like that. And then you end up with 6 wins with Ty Simpson,
so
and you're not in a place where you can move up, and you're not in a place where you can get one of the top QBs.
Like, do people not understand, Shedeur showed signs. You know who else showed signs? Tyler Shook. You know who else showed signs? Riley Leonard in the last week of the year.
He did.
Every rookie can show signs. That doesn't mean that you pencil him in as a starter. But you're right that it can be intoxicating, I think, for a fan base and maybe even a front office once they've spent any time in investment of a young quarterback for them to fall in love with them, because they see the good things and then go, well, if we can just get better coaching, if we can just get better players. Well, you could say that for any quarterback ever. You're always trying to get better coaching and better players to surround any quarterback. That doesn't mean that quarterback is the guy.
216-474-0092. I think that after this weekend, though, I think we're going to have a sincere conversation about Ty Simpson. What does impress me is that he's willing to throw. I think it killed him to come out of that game. Of course, he was getting killed in that playoff game against Indiana. But I think that he's willing to try to show exactly who he is and be tough enough to take the reins of a football team. And I think that part of that is in the combine. And because he is the second biggest name and he's throwing, Fernando Mendoza is not throwing, we are still obsessed with the position. Like I saw the Drew Aller story that came out. Like, yeah, he's going to throw and people are going to get excited. And I said that he's going to fly up the board and Garrett Nussmeier is going to fly up people's big boards and things like that. It's going to happen. But I still have to remain steadfast and go, are we ready? I don't think so. Are we ready to make such a big investment in that guy? Because it's still a pick. If I used my first-round pick, say he did fall to 24, I don't think he's going to be able to help out as much as a good offensive lineman or a wide receiver that could be a number 1 with us, but maybe a number 2 in the league that could really help out. The second round, I've said that. Like I brought this up about Dylan Gabriel. Why take Dylan Gabriel in the third round? First off, you've made him into a villain when he's not. Okay, you took him in the third round. I'm going. You really. It looks like you really don't have a lot of plans for the guy. It seems we've talked a lot about Shedeur and about Deshaun Watson. And I'm thinking I could have taken a lot of other positions in the third round that could have helped us.
And notice nobody. You're right.
We're going through this build.
Nobody's talking about, man, if we just develop Dylan Gabriel, get him better coaching, get him better offensive line, get him better receivers, then he could be really cooking. Third round talent. Like nobody's saying that.
Yeah, it's like if I take another cornerback, I have a chance to get him on the field. Like if even like fifth round guys. I'll say this quick: if I take a guy in the fifth round who's a safety or a cornerback or something like that, I got a chance to get him on the field through special teams. There's only one QB who can play. That's it. And so if I take a backup's backup in the third, fourth, fifth round, like that's it. I can't help myself in other places that I need a lot of help in, especially on offense. Coming up next, Joe Varden. What did the Cavs really prove last night in that win over the New York Knicks? And all the naysayers who called in on Monday, you guys are crazy. You guys are homers. Look at what you've done, Ken. It's all quiet out there today. Why is that? Why is that when they beat New York by 50? I want to ask Joe Varden about that coming up in 5 on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima for QC Kinetics. An ongoing pain can certainly make you feel older than you.
Thomas.
Tonight we're gonna take no prisoners.
Bringing James on has given us a renewed confidence, if that makes sense. Like, just, we understand we're a better team. That spirit, that confidence, for some strange reason, makes you play harder and compete harder defensively. And I felt like we were kind of missing that edge, that belief. So I feel like we're regaining that. A lot of it has to do who we added.
Kenny Atkinson after a big win yesterday, and I'm feeling great. I penciled him to the finals. I mean, there were a lot of people waiting to call in and beat me up over it. Now it's all quiet on the Northeast Ohio front. Amazing.
Kenny's talking that talk this morning.
Oh, man, I'm talking trash. There is a segment of listeners, not all of them. I usually don't do this. I don't like to do it. I like to try to get all the opinions and get all the sides. But I'm like, nah, you know what? You came after me on Monday. Now I'm going to come after you here on Wednesday morning. That's how this is going to work. Yep, that's how this is going to go. I'm talking tough. I'm puffing out my chest this morning. Joe Varden joins us on the Make It Right, Call Kyle Right hotline. He's from The Athletic. Hello, Joe.
Hey, guys. Good to talk to you.
Joe, it's good to talk to you. I penciled in the Cavs to the finals. What did they...
It's only one game, just like losing in Oklahoma City to a team that is missing 2 All-NBA players is only one game. But I go back to... I've been thinking about that quote that you guys played from Atkinson. I was in the room when he said it, and I am just blown away by what these guys are telling you was going on this team. You know, and I know it's like they, you know, you have to speak positive. You have to speak positive about the guys you have. And so you're asked 100 times, what does James mean to this team? And so you got to come up with these answers. But one player, one all-star replacing another all-star who has restored faith in the whole team. Like that is really was and what it thought it was capable of in November, December, and January versus where they are now. So what did they prove? I think they proved that they believe that this season is still in front of them.
Well, there's no doubt they're a very different team, and it's not just now because of James Harden. That's a part of it, and I think he's actually been very deferential to start out in his young Cavs career. But adding the other pieces they did in the Sacramento trade, this is materially a very different team, and I know everybody wanted to abandon ship because of that loss against Oklahoma City and their backups. By the way, their backups would start on just about every other team in the league. They're incredible. Yeah. They were incredible last night again, too. But this is still very early in the process, and I still think they are far better off come playoff time with this iteration than they were previously.
No doubt, Anthony. I mean, you know, and the three of us have talked about this, but they are bigger now in the backcourt. You can't hunt a Cavs defender, at least on the starting five. You can't do it. Donovan, I would say, is an underrated.
We're having a breakup with Joe. Let's try to call Joe back if we can. Hopefully John can hear us in the back there. I know he's got a lot to do. So let's see if we can call Joe back. Hate to do that.
He mentioned bigger in the backcourt, but, you saw that James Harden. Like, there were guys on the Knicks that James Harden can kind of, get his bearings and you can kind of hide him. But he also, you could see where that helped. Some defensive rebounding, too. A couple times got matched up with Karl Anthony Towns. Well, Darius Garland's not doing that. That's a layup. Or he's just going to shoot over him without fear of retribution. So this is where I'm not going to make Harden sound like he is a defensive stopper, but there's no doubt it helps to play alongside of Donovan Mitchell, somebody who is longer, which he is, and somebody who can hold up because it's got some girth to him. He's got some weight on him.
Yeah, I think that seeing what he did yesterday. Let me ask Joe about that. Hopefully we got him back here. Hello, Joe. You got us?
Yeah, Lima. I don't know what's going on today. I mean, I'm at home. I've got my internet on. The phone's connected to the internet, and so I don't know. Is something going on in our hometown where the reception's just bad today?
They get very uncomfortable when you talk well about the Cavs over there. I know his neighborhood. They're not nice over there.
Joe's closer to the water than I am. But we were talking about just how Harden, while he's not a defensive stopper, that there are tools he has at his disposal that just Darius simply did not. And it wasn't just Harden last night. They threw so many bodies at Jalen Brunson, and it all started with Dean Wade. He got it off to a great start.
Yeah, he really did. He picked him up first, and it was incredible, the results. But then you go with Dennis Schroeder, and he comes off the bench, and he's playing minutes against Brunson and taking the full court.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. Somehow it's getting even worse.
Tell Joe just drive down here and come in studio.
Well, maybe we could do that, something like that.
The beauty of Bay is you're 15 minutes away.
I hate to do it to Joe. It's not Joe's fault. I want to reach out to him afterwards and apologize. I'm sorry. It's a bad connection, and I'm excited about the Cavs. We'll reach out to Joe another time about this. So let's you and I get into it because I'm getting challenged about something, and I'm going to tell you guys right now.
Okay.
Because I'm getting a little bit agitated. I get agitated about these things because there's certain things I don't want to talk about, and I'm already getting agitated about it. I'll tell you guys about that in 4 minutes. Let me get this off my chest here. When it comes to the Knicks game, the reason I'm so excited is because of the fans. The reason I'm so worked up is because of the fans. We were in such a bad place with this basketball team. And it shows me yesterday, we really were. Because you go back to the Darius Garland before he was traded for James Harden, is that there was a lot of questions of toughness. And then even when you saw, like, hey, you got that Thunder game, and it did. When we got guys calling and going, hey, they played 3 games in 90 hours or whatever it is, that's a legitimate reason why they might come out sloppy. It's been 3 years of struggles and early exits and disappointments. And I think a lot of folks are going, yeah, you're going to have to show me more. This just sounds like a great big fat excuse. And so when they lost to Oklahoma City, I think a lot of people who were quiet about the trade, like, oh my God, we got James Harden, but they liked Darius Garland, or they just didn't really like James Harden maybe. It gave them a reason to get involved with us on Monday. And I caught a lot of heat on Monday because on Friday I'm penciling them into the finals, and then they're losing to Oklahoma City. But when you have Cavs Surfside Update brought to you by the fabulous folks at Surfside Hard Ice 2, ask you to please drink responsibly. But when you have a game like yesterday, why I get so excited about it, and Friday's going to be another test because you're playing against another tough team, physically tough. Mitchell Robinson has been a problem for this basketball team with our bigs for the last few years. You answered that challenge yesterday. I'm excited because of that. You answered that challenge yesterday. You have a situation where when you have a team being questioned for their toughness by their own fan base, that's a situation that can turn ugly real quick. And I thought that they answered the toughness question maybe for the first time. Maybe for the first time since they've had the core four. The question of toughness was brought up. We pitter-pattered around it. There we are. And I think for the first time they really answered it last night, and that's part of the reason I'm so excited. Plus, I'm not getting any of the. I'm not. It's amazing. All the people on social media are hiding from me, and all the people on the phones are hiding from me about all the nasty stuff when it comes to the Cavs and them losing and being exposed yesterday.
If they would have lost, this would have been a rough day. This would have been rough. because people would have came out of the woodwork, told you how flawed this team was. By the way, I keep saying, like, every team in the Eastern Conference has their flaws. Even the Western Conference teams have some flaws too. But this team, I think, has a window now that I just truly did not believe. That doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen, but I like their chances far, far better now with this iteration. And it's just going to be up to, like, Kenny Atkinson. I said good luck before yesterday's game. Like, they got the good news on Max Strus. That Strus is finally around the corner, and I'm like, that's great. This is another guy that you have to figure out your rotations with. They had already cut Jalen Tyson's time back, and his play had started to go a little towards, he had been trending up, and then he had kind of struggled since Harden came in. And I'm like, no, we need this. We need Tyson. They're going to need Tyson in all these playoff series. So it's going to be tough for the reigning coach of the year to try to figure that on the fly, considering they only have like 23 games left in the season. But I do think you've got a month and a half. You've got about a month and a half or 2 months till it really gets serious.
I'm getting yelled at for not talking about a certain Cleveland Brown, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about him here. It's my fault. There's things that I kind of hold personal and I get nervous about, and I just kind of internalize them. And then when we get yelled at for it, I get mad at who's yelling at us for it, and so then I turn it into a nasty, bitter thing. Andrew Berry was asked about Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah yesterday. Here is what Andrew Berry had to say.
We are dealing with Jeremiah from month to month. I'm not necessarily overly optimistic, but there isn't a hard deadline for which we have to make some type of binding decision.
So this is a very serious thing. And I think for me to make strong declarations that he's coming back or he isn't coming back is unfounded and irresponsible. I mean, if we were talking about an ankle injury, it's like, hey, let's see what you like the Carson Swessinger ankle stuff. This is an ankle injury when it was that. We're talking about a very serious spinal injury here, neck injury. And when it comes to that sort of thing, I got to tell you, like I do care. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe people think I'm too soft or I'm being a baby about it. He's a big boy. He can make his own decisions. And you can always find a doctor to clear you to do things. That's why nobody finds a second opinion over good news. They are always going to go try to find a doctor to tell them what they want to hear. And I got to tell you, I'm a little nervous about it if he were to come back. And I would be nervous to see him on the field. I think he's an exceptionally bright person. I've enjoyed interviewing him for a long time, or for a short time, but it feels like a long time. I learn something every time I hear from him. And he has every right to want to come back. I'm just letting you know my personal feelings. I would be very nervous. And hearing Andrew say it, like, I avoided it on Monday after the whole Mary Kay Cabot report. And I know Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah posted on social media, and that kind of became a fiasco. I avoided it on Monday. I avoided it yesterday as best I could. I heard what Andrew Berry said, and now I'm getting yelled at for not addressing it, so I'll address it head up. Part of me really doesn't want him to come back. I'm very nervous about that. I don't know anything about that sort of thing. I understand. Again, he's an adult, an American taxpayer. He can do whatever he wants.
Boy, that's
but man, it scares me. That's where I'm at on it.
Well, I gotta say, you rarely hear that from most fans are like, whatever it takes, get back on the field so we can root for you and you can help our team win. And for you to say that about somebody's health and safety, that's bigger, that's more important to you than the Browns' success with him. I know you're not looking for credit or anything like that. It's a noble gesture. But I'm like, that's a rarity. That's a rarity. Most fans treat these athletes as cattle, right? Like, hey, round them up, get them on the field, shoot them with whatever pain meds, and let's go. Well, rehab. Let's go. Get going.
And I can be called a hypocrite as well. We pick and choose the guys we care about. We do. And I'm going to end up in a meeting after this, I'm sure, because it's not about it's not about hey, I'm still a talk show host. I should still share my opinion on it. All right? I understand that. But things that I think I'm unqualified to talk about, which is laughable, I know. I get very nervous to speak about on that sort of thing. And especially about a person who I don't even know very well, but I do care about him. and I get very nervous about it. And our boss is right. I should talk about it. But I just feel bad feeling that way about a football player, and I think he's done a really remarkable job for this football team, and I get very nervous for him. That's all.
And I gotta say, like Ken gets to talk to these players, has a little more access than the average fan would, and I think that could be a difference. Like that could be a difference that when you do the interviews for the coaches shows or the stuff that we air on our station, the Browns radio network, like you get a chance to actually talk a little more beyond, hey, football, did you do well? Like, what? How much is this guy getting paid? Like, you're actually finding commonality as a human with somebody, which I think the average fan is just looking at these guys going, how much are they? He's overpaid, or he's underpaid, or I don't like that guy. I don't like how he celebrates after a score. Like, you actually get to know somebody, when you talk about these guys.
I love football. I know bad things, really, really, really bad things can happen. Unfortunately, when I've seen somebody get that close to a really bad thing that could happen, it startles me, and I hate feeling this way. He's free to do his own thing. I'm not going to sit there and go, he can't come back. There's no way he can come back. No, he's a grown man. He's free to make his own decisions. If he has a doctor that clears him and the Browns are cool with it, fine, I'll cross that bridge. But you can hear it from Andrew Berry. I think that we've left a lot. If this is it, there's going to be a giant what if, because he was becoming a fantastic player. He could have been a fantastic player. All-pro. They've done a good job, I hate, in having to find somebody else to play his position. And I get nervous. That's where I'm at on that. So you got it out of me. There you go. 216-474-0092. I wish him the very best. If he wants to come back, fine, come back. If he doesn't, well, clearly you know where I stand on that. And again, not knowing the situation, maybe I feel that I feel that would probably be for the best. Coming up next, hearing Andrew Berry yesterday, I think he's telling us to be ready for a competition and an outsider coming in. Malik Willis. That's what I'm telling him. I'm going to decipher his comments coming up in 5 on the Fan.
Well, after that segment, it's a perfect time to talk about being a man. And if you feel like you lost your edge, if your energy, focus, drive isn't what it used to be, it's time to get back on track with your local experts in testosterone replacement therapy.
is on top of every headline. Listen to his reports on the station with the most local sports talk in town. 92.3 The Fan, powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Catch the latest Browns news all off-season long. Stream us on the Odyssey app and on your smart speaker by telling Alexa to play 92.3 The Fan.
So what I'm about to tell you from Andrew Berry's comments yesterday are going to sound a little bit crazy. I want you to go with me because I brought it up to Lima a little bit, and now I'm even more steadfast. This is not an endorsement fully of Malik Willis, all right? It's not that we got to go out and get him, but I'm starting to see a little bit of a pattern here. Boy, if I end up getting this one right, I might walk away because this is going to be crazy.
You're cashing them in?
I might just cash him in and say, you know what? Time to go be a high school athletic director. I'll see you guys on the other side. If I get this one right, holy potatoes, it ain't going to get any better. All right, Andrew Berry in 2022. Baker's safe. Everything's safe. Barry K had the report. Baker's safe. What happened with Baker? Gone. Okay, so you can prove you can't trust anything that they say. Like Andrew, can't trust everything that he says in a press conference. So yesterday, I got to speed it up here because it's going to be pretty in the weeds. He was asked, will the Browns be aggressive in free agency? Survey said at the Combine, Andrew Berry.
I would anticipate that there's at least the chance that we would be a little bit more aggressive more aggressive than last year. But it'll be targeted and opportunistic. I think, realistically, we may be one more offseason away from being like hyper aggressive in that window. But if there's something that fits us, fits our roster, fits our timeline, then it's certainly a swing we'll take.
All right. So you hear that? We'll be a little bit more aggressive, hyper-aggressive next year. I want you to remember the hyper-aggressive. Yes, Barry 15. I'm calling this one on the fly. Now, I had something else, but now I got to hear it. Because notice the team, when he's asked about the offensive line, I want you to hear the team he talks about. Hit it.
Not necessarily. I guess thinking about the offensive line, I actually think what Chicago and what Ryan Poles did last year is a really nice model. If you think about it, they did a combination of internal development, veteran additions, and draft, right? You had Darnell Wright, who he really came into his own at right tackle this past year. They traded for Joe Thuney. They traded for Jonah Jackson. They signed Dahlman in free agency, and they drafted Ozzie Dean Trapilo in the second round. So it's a nice mixture of like youth and experience, and I think that, we would look to take a similar approach if the player markets line up for us.
He has studied these guys.
I was going to say.
Usually they go, you hear guys go 75 with the Bears. That guy,
I was going to say,
he's got something.
Can you, just as an aside, I know GMs make a lot of money. It's a big-time job. Everybody wants to do these jobs. And a lot of people, never get an opportunity. Mm-hmm. But think about what he just did there. He's rolling off all these acquisitions and the internal development guys and people that are in their system. And that's the Bears. I guarantee you if you go, Andrew, what about the Texans and what they try to do to overhaul their offensive line last year? Because remember, they were basically 5 new as well. I bet you'd be able to do it. And then he can do that for all the teams. And then you have to do it for the draft for every player that's available in the draft coming in. It's amazing the overload. Right, it's their job.
He ain't dumb.
It is their job. But it tells you what kind of level you got to be at. You could be the worst GM in football. You got to be able to do that.
I think we've lacked some common sense before, but he ain't no dummy. So there was a question he was asked yesterday. I want you to hear this question and hear how he answers this one. Hit it.
You said that, you would scour and look into the quarterback market. As it stands now, just a couple weeks away from free agency, do you believe there's a legitimate avenue to add a quality starting quarterback, whether it be through signing or trade?
Are you talking specifically on the veteran market?
Yeah.
TBD.
Ain't gonna tell you nothing. This is all for a reason. Anthony, you said Malik Willis was essentially what?
A rookie.
It all comes together. Let me put the pieces are on the table. Let me put them all together for you now. He mentions the Bears. What do the Bears have? The Bears have a quarterback. He's able to move. The offensive line, I've told you, I think the protection, they're good running the ball. The protection's a little bit overrated. But he went out, Caleb Williams went out that rookie year, and he showed that it was Matt Eberflus who was the problem, and they decided they were going to invest in Caleb Williams, and they invested in Caleb Williams, and they went out and they addressed free agency. Year 2 of Caleb Williams. You just said Malik Willis. Malik Willis is essentially a what? Malik Willis is essentially a rookie. And I want to get to Albert Breer 05. Albert Breer 05 from yesterday when Albert Breer, the knower of knowers, was asked on Afternoon Drive, what about Barry's job security?
I don't think that Jimmy Haslam and his family have any intention on moving on from Andrew Berry after this year as it stands now. That said, if you win 2 or 3 games next year, I think everybody knows that the public reaction will likely go a certain way. A lot of fingers are going to be pointed at the GM, and I think AB knows that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's in any sort of position where he's sitting there saying I have my job in 27. He knows he's got to hit on his draft picks. The good news is they've got a good base of talent out of last year's draft.
More aggressive, more specific than they were last year at certain positions when it comes to free agency. They can't make Malik Willis sign. But I think that these tumblers are clicking into place, everybody, that they're going to be very aggressive for Malik Willis because going into next year, and Albert talked about this on Afternoon Drive yesterday. I heard it yesterday, and I listened into it on this morning on the way in just because I wanted to make sure I wasn't fully crazy. The money starts to come off the books next year for you-know-who, Deshaun Watson. The money starts to come off the books. Albert said that they will be more aggressive next year in free agency. We know that the Bears were more aggressive. So you bring in Malik Willis. Malik Willis is able to show you flashes. It's a 2-year plan because you can't do it all in 1 year. So Andrew Berry gives it a 2-year plan, says we bring in Malik Willis. He's going to do these things for us. We got a new head coach. We don't have to fire a head coach. We're going to be better. Then we're going to free up some money after Deshaun Watson. We're still paying the fiddler on that because it seems that we're going to be paying on that forever. But we're still going to free up some money for Deshaun Watson. And if Malik Willis goes out and plays well, we're going to be more than happy to spend on free agency to put around Malik Willis. And then Jimmy, all he's costing us is money. It doesn't cost us a pick. So if we stay at 6, we can get a wide receiver. We can get an offensive lineman who's going to be on a 5-year deal, remember? And then if we stay at 24, we can get an offensive lineman or another wide receiver, and we can have the 10 picks going in. And if he works out, if he's as good as what Ben Solak says he's going to be, what Greg Rosenthal says he's going to be, what Todd McShay says he could possibly be, then we're laughing. And if he doesn't work out in 2026 for our Cleveland Browns, then my ass is fired, and I probably might get fired anyway, so I might as well go ahead and let this one ride.
And you won't be there to draft the guy next year anyway, so it won't matter.
And you won't be there to draft the guy next year anyway. The only thing Andrew Berry has to lose is a few games. That's all there is. I want you to tell... You may not like Malik Willis. That's not the issue. I'm not trying to sell anybody anywhere on Malik Willis now. This is not the discussion for that. I want to know. Open it up. 216-474-0092. Owen, John, Tone, anybody who's walking Jeremy Levine can come walking back here if he heard any of this. I don't care. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I've lost my mind. Putting all that together. He mentions the Bears. They go year 2 with Caleb Williams. You said it yourself, brother. You said he was essentially a rookie, Malik Willis. Here's this guy, a dynamic player. You have a head coach that wants a dynamic player, a guy who can run. Here's this guy who's shown these flashes in big football games that he's got to go out and they got to win. Now he's had this seasoning. This is the perfect retread for us. That's, I think, what is in his head. Can't guarantee it. He can just go, yeah, thanks for the offer. I'm going to go sign with Pittsburgh or sign with Arizona, whatever. But doesn't say he can't be aggressive about it. Tell me I'm wrong. No, I'm listening. Anybody. You're not saying I'm wrong. You're not saying I'm crazy.
No, I don't think you're crazy. I know the afternoon show will say this entire thing is crazy.
That's fine. That's fine. I am not trying to put you in a new car here. I'm only telling you the dots I'm trying to connect. That's all I'm trying to do, folks.
Notice what you didn't hear yesterday. You did not hear at any point, nor have you heard at any point during this whole process, that we've already got our guy in-house. You've not heard that. And they could easily say that.
I'm serious.
They could say that and change their minds, but they have not said it.
I want you guys to ask yourselves before you call in, 216-474-0092. It's not about whether or not you want him, okay? You could say, I don't want Malik Willis. Kenny, you're nuts. I'm not trying to tell you that you should get Malik Willis. I want to know if you think that that's plausible, because it's pretty damn plausible to me. Or I just want him to win so bad basically pulled up my lip over my face, and I'm just going to suffocate myself for the rest of the show. 216-474-0092. I want to throw it out to the listeners. I want to ask you. I want to ask Owen. I want to ask John. When we come back, the whole thing, Ken Carman, Tone Master General, we are having cosmic tumblers click into place. We are opening up the doors to perception on the 2026 Browns on the Fan.
Before you consider calling any other realtor, you need to know that there is
WOKC app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
This is the only place to trust for Cavs talk anytime you want. Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
I threw it all together. I've connected the pieces. And I think what Andrew Berry didn't tell you yesterday, but told you without telling you, I think they're going to be very aggressive towards Malik Willis. I think that it doesn't matter if I want to sell you on him or not. It's not my job. I have questions. I mean, there's things I like, but I haven't seen enough of them. And because you haven't seen enough of him, you're like, ooh, I'm pretty intrigued by this young man. I got to tell you. Lima says, he's basically a rookie. All he costs is money. I got 10 picks. He mentions the Bears. The Bears were so active in free agency this last year around a quarterback that they love. He's not. I would not say he's the prospect that Caleb Williams was. I'll tell you that.
No.
But you know what? This is where you're at. You're 6 years into this thing. Albert Breer said it, man. You turn in another fart of a season. Now it's you. And it comes off. It does seem a little desperate, let's be honest. But is it as desperate as basically tanking out the entire year and fighting a bunch of other teams for Arch Manning? Because that's another thing I'm picking up. It seems a lot of teams are just like, yeah, this is the draft, and if we could trade out, we're going to trade out, and we're going to lay low. Seems like Arizona might be doing that. They're talking about that with Atlanta. Like, yeah, Michael Penix might be something, but you know who might really be something? Arch Manning. And okay, well, only one team could draft Arch Manning. Only one can do it. They can't all have him. And he's the perfect package for a lot of owners. Whether you think Arch Manning's going to be great or not, he's just the perfect package for a lot of owners. If he has the type of season that he had in the second half of this year, it's number one with a bullet. He's a marketing machine. It's hand over fist. We all understand that. The draft already starts at 2 unless something horrific happens. Well, you can't guarantee that. You can't guarantee you're going to be around. So you got to do it the next best option.
I just wonder, is anybody mad at Andrew Berry? Like, let's say you're a big...
For putting them in this position? Well, I think so.
No, like if you're a big Shedeur person, right, and the only thing that matters to you to help turn the Browns around is Shedeur being the starter week 1, he's QB1.
Oh, if I were a big Shedeur fan, I might be mad.
Are you upset that you're not hearing any of that from the Browns?
Well, no, it's not. I'm not even upset.
Even Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, when they've had microphones in front of them, none of them have said it either.
I'm glad you brought this up.
They've said good things about Shedeur, but they haven't said it either.
Thank you for bringing this up.
You're not hearing anything from the building that Shedeur is QB1.
If I'm a big Shedeur fan, if I'm listening to this in Colorado or Texas or anything like that, I'm just taking another log and throwing it in the fire. This is more of the same that I've been dealing with this football team. If I'm just a Shedeur fan, this is more of the same. Yeah, this is more of the same I've been dealing with for 2 years.
Or cut so he can go choose his own place.
You took my guy. You stuck him behind this guy who's unserious. Even the guys in Cleveland radio say it, and I have to admit it's unserious in the third round. You stuck him behind this guy that's unserious. You continue to do unserious things like having him throw to ball boys and trash cans and not getting any reps and this, that, and the other. And then we're going to have this great big Malik Willis conversation. Yeah, I'm sure they're mad, but by now it's just more of the same. But before we go to the phones, 216-474-0092. I'm serious. Open up all the mics. John, I want him in. Owen, I want you in. I got to start with you, Tone. None of you guys are saying I'm crazy. Or maybe you're just like, hey, let him go out there and hang himself, and then we'll all pounce on him in the next segment, which you guys are want to do. So am I nuts by the whole thing I laid out in the last segment?
Yeah, like the strategy.
Yes, I am.
No. So
okay.
Obviously, there's, and I know we got to get to the phone, so I'll be quick.
Fine.
There are a couple of complexities. One is you do have a lot of money tied up in Watson, and they keep talking so positively about Deshaun. Well, if you're bringing in Malik Willis, there's no competition.
You talk positively about Baker Mayfield in 2022, then you shipped his ass out of here when you went for Deshaun Watson.
Well, so what are you doing with the other quarterbacks?
I don't know
if
what
you do
you're
bring
doing.
in Malik Willis.
I think you're probably. I think two of them are probably gone, and you're probably holding on to Deshaun Watson.
Okay, and the other part of this is the agent situation that people have brought up. Anytime I bring up Malik Willis, they will note that he has the same representation as Deshaun Watson, and how is that going to work?
If I'm using, what's Tyson Campbell's contract situation? Has he already been signed to a contract, or what's his situation? Because boy,
he had re-signed in Jacksonville.
All right, because that's part of this. So you've already baked his contract into things. What did Andrew Berry not commit to, or who did Andrew Berry not commit to yesterday? Martin Emerson Jr. So that all of a sudden might be freed up for you. Now I'm thinking off the top of my head. Now I'm spitballing here right off the top of my head, okay? Because you threw a nice curveball at me. If I'm offering $5 million more, hey, I recognize this is as close to a Hail Mary as you're going to do. I think tanking it out for Arch Manning is the ultimate Hail Mary, but this is as close to a Hail Mary as what he's going to pull off here. If you're going to cost your client an extra $5 million, go ahead. If you can convince him that he's more comfortable in Pittsburgh for less, or more comfortable in Arizona for less, or wherever else for less, fine, go right on ahead. But if it just comes down to money, I think that the Browns will try to outbid everybody if they really like Malik Willis. And maybe he sold Jimmy Haslam on Malik Willis. Weren't they really interested in him when he came out in the draft? Hasn't that been something that's been said here over the last few weeks? Weren't they, the original draft that Malik Willis came out, were they or were they not really kicking the tires down there in Lynchburg? Were they or were they not really kicking the tires?
I believe Charles Robinson, he does that hit in Nashville, and he had brought it up that they had looked back at the time during that draft at him.
Excellent. That's right.
That's the only real big thing that had come out from it.
All right, Owen. You know what? You have a tendency to kill my feelings here. I want John in here. John.
You know, I thought the goal was to stick with Shedeur, be as worse as you can, and you go with Dante Moore or Arch Manning next year. But Ken, you sold me. Malik Willis, you're not giving up a draft pick. You have two guys on 5-year deals next year, and then if he sucks, you cut him and cut your losses. And
you just get fired, right? You just get fired.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's that. Because John, I don't want to try to sell you on Malik Willis. I'm trying to sell you on this is a believable plan that I think that that Andrew Berry might be trying to do. If you don't, because John, it's interesting. What do you think is better? Do you think that playing the season, because you said they would suck with Shedeur. That's what came out of your mouth. Am I right?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
I don't know what your Twitter account is, but get ready because they're going to be coming after you here in a second.
Go ahead.
Post it on YouTube right now.
Do you think it's better, John, to then go with what you were just saying with Shedeur, or do you think it's worth it to kick the tires on Malik Willis?
I mean, if they're both not good, then you're going to have a high pick anyway. But I think Malik Willis has a far greater chance of bringing you actually to the playoffs with maybe a mediocre offensive line than Shedeur would with a great offensive line.
You know what? That's a hell of a point. It's not costing me any more time. If Malik Willis goes out there and sucks with this Browns team, it ain't going to cost me any more time. I hate to say it. That's been part of the reason I've been fighting for Shedeur. It's like I want somebody who I can get behind, who I'm kind of interested in, who I am interested in, who's young, who maybe has a chance. And if he doesn't, then I'm not going to waste any more time as a Browns fan and looking to the future. I'm going to cut my losses with who's gone, and I'm going to get ready for, as John just said, Dante Moore, Arch Manning, Lenora Sellers, Julian Sayin. I'm sure there's two guys I can't even think off the top of my head. I want, real quick for the phones. Owen, crazy or uncrazy?
My verdict's still out on this.
You've had a lot to do technically today,
yeah,
the McShay interview and everything.
I just wonder if the amount of money that they spent on the quarterback room, it's still a crazy amount and it's Deshaun's contract, right? And they had tried to move away from that by bringing in the rookies to kind of balance it out, right? You're not paying those guys anything, especially third and fifth round rookie quarterbacks. You're just not paying them comparatively. They're making like $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So to go out and bring in another guy who now, what was the number we were on the other day? $35 million a year. And I know it's a year by year thing, but that's a killer. Now, Lima brought this up too. Why does Andrew Berry know the names of the linemen on the other team? That is normally
studying.
That's not something you do.
It's been studying the names.
I don't know that he's particularly trying to find the guys to protect Malik Willis, but he is trying to find the guys to protect whoever's back there because they were not very good at protecting those guys. I'm not sold on Malik Willis yet, and Andrew Berry chasing him yet. But that could change by the end of the week.
Twitter reactions brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Henry Green says, Ken, this conversation is all caps worthless. You said Malik Willis played in big games they had to win. Yeah, he played in big games they had to win. He said, yeah, on Madden. Make it make sense. What did they say about the Bears?
Wait, he said what?
What he said you said Malik Willis played in big games they had to win, yeah, on Madden, which is not true, but he mentions Madden. That's why I'm using him as an example. I said it last year. I was right about the Patriots. I was wrong about the Bears. But there were a lot of other people saying it with me. That Ryan Poles, whose job, by the way, was kind of on the line last year, was putting together a Madden team. All the weaponry in the world, but if you can't protect Caleb Williams, boy, you can't do nothing. And they protected Caleb Williams just enough. If you can protect Malik Willis just enough, it's not about going to the playoffs. It's about showing that he can be the guy. Because when you are finally able to release yourself from $46 million a year into a guy that nobody wants to watch, you can give those assets to somebody else. And if you bring in Malik Willis, I got 10 picks, guys. Got 10 picks that I can use in this draft. And I knocked him out of the park last year. I'm going to knock him out of the park this year. Because this plan was probably put in place, might have been put in place a couple years ago. Well, let me get to Chuck in Brunswick. Hello, Chuck.
Yo, what's up, man?
Hi.
Yo, so I know you used to will and deal. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting high on your own supply, man.
I used to smoke good, man. I'll tell you that right now, Chuck.
So
it was mid. It wasn't loud. It was mid, but it was good.
Oh, man, it was great back in the 90s.
Thank you.
So, look, man, I just want to say this. I know you're not that old. Malik Willis, come on, man. He's not a rookie again. What we doing, rewriting history? His rookie year, through 8 games, he had no touchdowns and 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Now, we looking right past. Now, you talked about the Bears blueprint, and I was like, well, you on to something. Mm-hmm. Until you brought up Malik Willis, you should have been talking about Shedeur because he's the second-year player.
Wait, you said through 8 games. He started 3 games his rookie year. He wasn't even supposed to play.
8 games. I didn't
No,
say
he started 3.
He played in 8
so
games.
he came in, took some snaps in the fourth quarter.
Well,
that's not playing. You're not. Yeah. No. How many touchdowns are you going to get when you come in and you're either in the victory formation? Yeah. I don't think he's throwing touchdown passes.
To be bringing his name up every day.
And they brought him in for running plays. Like, yeah, hey, come in and
don't give me
come in. We're gonna
say Malik Willis is about to move from quarterback to kicker.
We're gonna bring him in and hand the ball off to him as a gimmick. Is not, and you're questioning his lack of. Hold on, and so wait. You brought up 8 games. Why did you bring up 8 games?
He played in 8 games.
Yeah, what was he doing in 5 of those games? Can you tell me?
And he threw no
I've got it in front of me. What did he do in 5 of those games? Can you tell me? Or did you just look at the box score? You just you called me. I am the Malik Willis expert. Just admit you came to a gunfight with your pinky toe. Admit you don't know what you're talking about. You're not going to get another word in. Thank you for the phone call. Thank you very much.
Let the man have his
I can't because he called in and didn't know he was talking to somebody who actually had the film in front of me and had more than just the box score.
Chuck made my point.
I went through those games.
Well, Chuck, I didn't want to run you off, but I'll tell you this.
They didn't bring him in. There's a big difference between played 8 games and started 3. And if you don't know the difference, then you're not going to make a real plausible argument.
I also did not kick you, Chuck, but when the maestro is at his crescendo and he waves his finger and it gives me the sign, that's when I hit the gong.
Guys talking about touchdown passes when they were bringing him in to hand the ball off to. Yes, he's supposed to go, no, go deep. I'm throwing the football now on this gimmick running play. You dummy.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
It's victory formation. I got a bootleg. Hurry up. I need touchdown passes for Chuck. So 4 years from now, he can tell me I don't have enough touchdown passes. I've got to prove him wrong. That's not really how football works. I got to educate some of you guys in 2026, apparently.
Hold on. Chuck wanted to argue with me. Why did you get in an argument where I wanted to just tell Chuck? I wish I could have told Chuck.
Well, that wouldn't have been as good as what just happened.
No, that's true. But this got taken away from me. I wanted to tell Chuck, this is the beauty of it. I didn't want to sell you on Malik Willis. I was just selling you on the plan. That this is a possible plan. Don't tell me it's not a possible plan. He had every possible moment. How long was he on the podium yesterday? How long was Andrew Berry out there?
15 and a half minutes.
Let's say 17 minutes. He had every chance to say we have QB1. Oh, I'm sorry. What did Nick Caserio do yesterday on the podium? Oh yeah, he said C.J. Stroud is our quarterback.
Yeah.
He said all the other stuff was. I think he called it dumb. I think that's the quote. He called all that conversation around C.J. Stroud dumb. He had every opportunity yesterday to say who his quarterback was. He didn't do it because they're open-minded.
And
we
that's the thing.
We got to be honest here.
I think that the Shedeur fans, as passionate as they are, you guys are married to Shedeur as the quarterback, whether it's the Browns or wherever. Yeah, my God, he could be in 30 other places. You guys would think he should be the starting quarterback.
Well, clearly,
you guys are more married to him than the guy that drafted him. And that's a reality. And if you guys can't see that by now, here we are in year 2. Like, I have some really bad news for you. That GM, the next time he commits to Shedeur Sanders, it'll be the first.
When we first moved into our house, we needed to work on a footer drain. Liz wanted a girl on a cruise. Guess which one?
every Wednesday. Listen and follow Free Range with me, Von Miller, wherever you get your podcast.
Spring training is underway. Get the biggest news from Florida and Arizona here. Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Look at what you done. Look at what you done. Look at you laughing. Stop laughing. Stop laughing. It ain't funny. Look at what you done. What are the social media reactions brought to you by on
Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Sponsored by, I can't read them. Oh, I'm reading them. They are amazing.
I have not looked at them.
I would just like to remind everyone that this is a radio show done for the radio. And I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, I don't know what you're saying. Hand to God.
No, it's fine. It's.
Oh, my God.
I have no problem with anybody that talks about how bad Malik Willis was his rookie year. He was never supposed to play. Remember, ironically.
Well, he played in 8 games.
He played in 8 games, yeah. Ironically, Shedeur Sanders, if you believe the reports, I think Jason Lloyd was the one that had it, that if it was up to Kevin Stefanski, Shedeur was never supposed to play this year. It was supposed to be.
Well, Kevin Stefanski's gone.
It was supposed to be a developmental year.
And
Malik Willis, where did he get his development? He got it in Green Bay.
Listen, man, say whatever you want. The guy that nobody liked is gone. And the guy that everybody says is his guy, he had every opportunity to nip all of it in the bud. He had every opportunity. He never did. He never did. You stomp your feet and plug your fingers in your ears and close your eyes and get as mad as you want to. I don't know what they're saying on YouTube. There's not a camera that can show. I ain't on that stuff. You can get as mad as you want. You know what the truth is. It's open. This is an open job. And if it's an open job and his job is on, Andrew's job is on the line, brother, we're going to get nuts. Yes, I'm sorry.
Well, don't NFL trends happen in 3-4 year cycles, right?
Yeah.
So the latest.
I mean, hell, Jeremiah Love's going to go top 5 to some folks now.
And
that's a running
trend
back
right now is the retread quarterback, right? And rightfully so when Sam Darnold wins a Super Bowl. But, it started with Geno. Yeah. It started with Geno, and you've had Baker and Daniel Jones, and all these guys have been doing it. I just wonder how long that wave is going to ride. I don't know what the next wave of quarterback.
And there are going to be a lot of failures.
The one thing that has always stood the test of time, though, is take a quarterback in the top 10. You got a good shot of him becoming your franchise quarterback, really first-round quarterback.
But you're right. Oh, you're right. But what's happened last year and this year? What have people noted? Where are all the quarterbacks?
Right.
How could we have 2 consecutive years? And we don't know about Jackson Dart,
But
Tyler
you have
Shook.
kids like Carson Beck staying in school an extra 2 years and not going to class, right? That's changed a lot of things. We're having to adjust to that. Fernando Mendoza, wouldn't end up in Indiana 5 years ago.
Nope. We are in a wild place, man.
So Owen's right.
And by the way, I'm sorry, but before all this happened yesterday, I've been saying about Malik Willis, you guys with the retreads, I don't know what they're saying in the 216-474-0092. I'm gonna get to the phones here in a second. I've been a Shedeur guy for the simple fact that I don't want to make any silly decisions and make any bigger mistakes. Malik Willis could very well be a bigger mistake. Also, he is a free agent. You have to sell yourself to Malik Willis. That's why that gets brought into it. Because again, we keep retreads. What were you thinking about Sam Darnold? Sam Darnold went from the Jets to he made a stop in between, Carolina, another suck-ass franchise, over there to Minnesota, a better franchise, over there to Seattle, obviously right now a good franchise, and they've been a good franchise. They really haven't been on their ass for that long. You look at I had the list right in front of me. Hold on.
Well, and you left out the 49ers for Sam Darnold. That's the year that he went and saw how
franchise. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Winning organization plays winning football.
I wrote it out right here because this was from last week during our Dane Brugler conversation. These guys go from bad places to better places. Sam Darnold, just like I said, Geno Smith, Jets, ended up with Seattle. They got the best out of him while they could. Went to Las Vegas, what'd they do? Suck. He looked even worse because they suck. Daniel Jones went from a place where they sucked out loud. They ended up blaming it on him. He ended up, and by the way, I'm no Daniel Jones fan. Ended up going to Indianapolis. They are a better organization than what you have with the New York Giants. He was obviously a lot better. They were more in tune offensively. He was obviously a lot better. Hell, I kind of want to even throw Joe Flacco into that mix. Was with the Jets, not a great team, bad situation, gets called into it, has weapons, has a decent team around him, was able to do what a guy who was a Super Bowl MVP was able to do. We are not that type of team, so you're going to have to give more. So all this conversation could be for naught. So I'm not going to sit here and say Shedeur Sanders is terrible and we're wasting our time with him. No, because I'll tell you right now, I want to have some hope. And he's got a lot of work to do, but there was some flashes there. Yeah. And I don't think that he's a total waste of time. I just do not want to have my time wasted. So if they go after Malik, I'm going to have my questions, but I'm going to say I told you so because I think that this is what is setting up here. Because, again, Albert Breer knows these guys, and it's been 6 years with Andrew Berry. The only thing that Jimmy could mention was the last draft when they talked to him about this. He knows that he has to hit it out of the park again, and he knows that he's going to have to show something that's certainly a lot better than this to be able to hold on to his job. So he may very well go after Malik Willis, and that means we might very well be having to do a lot of things where, man, you could have a Malik Willis, Deshaun Watson quarterback room by the time we get to training camp, and Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders could be gone, and we could be laughing over the memories. That's all of the arguments that we've had.
As long as we don't have to talk about first-team reps ever again. Okay. That was a forgettable time in Cleveland sports radio history.
I don't care who the hell the quarterback is. I will never seriously take completion percentages and things in camp. I don't give a damn who it is. Till my dying day.
Real analytics.
I will pull that mask off one more time in the hospital bed and say, that bleep don't matter, and then I'll cut the cord.
I think they even included his completion percentage to the Baldwin Wallace kids.
With my last breath.
He's got 9 in a row.
And by the way, that's part of the reason I'm defensive over him, because I thought that was ridiculous. Thank you.
It was.
See, that's the guy who's the hater over here.
100%
and he says it's ridiculous. And it is. It's ridiculous. So I wanted to say this before we go to the phones, all right? I teased this before. This is also going to be hard to follow a little bit. We had Todd McShay. Boy, I've had a lot of coffee. My lips are moving before my head's moving here. We had Todd McShay earlier. He was mentioning wide receivers, and already we had people going, man, I'd rather have a wide receiver than this, that, and the other. This is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to figure out, and I think Todd had said your wide receiver, your best wide receiver could be found at 6, right? Like there are questions about some of these offensive linemen. Isn't that what Todd said? I don't want to mix it up. Isn't that what Todd said?
He said edge and wide receiver.
Edge and wide receivers are your best. There we go. Thank you very much. A wide receiver is a fun thing. Now, usually, I just want best player available. Now, it's going to scare a lot of people because I think when I look at offensive linemen, I look at it like this. When we moved into the house in the borough, one of the first things that happened, I saw a little bit of moisture in the basement. I went, oh, jeez. It was a footer drain situation. Okay, you got to take care of the footer drain. You can't see a footer drain. It costs you a lot of money. You can't see it. Can't brag about it. It sucks. Offensive linemen, you don't pay attention to them. They cost you a lot of money. They're not fun to talk about. It sucks. You got to do it. It's like paying your rent. It's like making sure that the mortgage is paid, like making sure the heat's on. Wide receivers, my wife wanted a cruise. Guess which one we did year one? We went on a cruise. The whole time I'm sitting there going, got to get this effing footer drain fixed. Got to get that footer drain fixed. And that's why I keep bringing up the Bears, because that was my major concern. Going, yeah, you guys can bring in DJ Moore, and you guys can draft Roma Dunze, and these guys are great, but if you can't protect Caleb Williams, boy, you're going to have a problem. Well, they didn't have many problems this last year. I did think that Caleb Williams was running for his life. I did think that the protection was a little overrated, I got to admit. But that's where we're at, and that's what we have to make a decision on. But I'll tell you this. I know I need a footer drain, but if I can get away without having a footer drain, and the footer drain company that's coming on ain't that very good, and I'm just getting a footer drain because I'm getting a footer drain, then I'm going to have a problem later on, so I might as well just go on the damn cruise, might as well get myself a nice wide receiver. Because I think Mekhi Lemon, I keep saying his name wrong. I think Mekhi Lemon can be very good. I think that Carnell Tate can be very good, and I am sick and damn tired of wishing things on wide receivers that really aren't fair to them. Because we can't pick wide receivers very well. And if you got a guy staring you right there at number 6, maybe it just makes it that much easier for you.
I'm just thinking about all that. And imagine that the cruise you guys would have picked would have been the poop cruise. And then you'd be like, oh, All that
Anthony
work.
Schwartz.
They didn't fix the stuff on the boat.
Anthony Schwartz. We went on a cruise and we're like, why is there a helicopter? And I looked at the group we were with. I go, I know why the helicopter's here.
Well,
wait, Puerto Vallarta?
You know, coming in hot is at 9:45. I know there is a major Cleveland
Reckless
celebrity who's down there right now. A Cleveland television legend. That's all I'm going to say. And the pics and videos are what you see the people in the infinity pool. They're just watching, and the things are burning in the distance. You got helicopters flying all over. All of them are shirtless.
Take advantage of the sun while you got it.
Whatever they do, just let's not end up on another Browns vacation.
No.
We haven't done that in a while.
Nah, man.
Shador saved us from that, by the way. I will give credit where credit is due.
You need to thank him.
For those that don't know,
you need to thank him.
This was our go-to come late October about the Browns vacation and what was going on in the Lido deck.
We're playing shuffleboard. I got invited to a couple of parties. I ended up at a party that I didn't realize. And then I had to explain some things to my wife that I didn't know I had to explain. That was a hell of a time.
Now you're at Friends of Shador.
People being thrown overboard.
Oh, and Judas Priest.
Who was taking advantage of the all-you-can-eat?
Judas Priest was.
I remember when we went on our honeymoon, and I got on the cruise, and the curry was amazing. And all of a sudden, Liz goes, Kenny, you are pounding Indian food. And I didn't realize, and I went, uh-oh. I was like, it's too good. I got to keep eating it. And I tell you, I didn't have any problems later on.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Talk about one of the all-time. See, that's
those pills you're taking.
Eating all that
when
Indian food, eating all that curry right as you get on the boat. That's like when you find that's the Dorian Thompson-Robinson giving you nearly 1,000 yards a few years ago. There you go. See, it ain't all bad with Andrew. 216-474-0092. All right, I talked enough. I want to see where you guys are at on this. I want to get this is all you guys. Am I crazy about all this stuff when it comes to the quarterback? Am I crazy about the Malik Willis stuff? Am I crazy about the wide receivers? Am I just plain crazy? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on that free Odyssey app.
Anthony Lima for Fanatics Sports.
come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
For every little nugget of Browns news that drops at the Combine, keep it on the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan.
You want to say anything before we let him ride, Tom?
No, I'm good. This is a fun conversation. I'm glad we're having it, Ken.
What the hell?
What you got, Kenny? What you got?
I just opened Twitter, and it says, today's news. Cleveland Browns radio host Ken Carman suggests Shedeur Sanders compete with Deshaun Watson for quarterback role.
That, of course, brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
My name is just right on this. I'll be dipped. Omar Kelly, venerable columnist for the Miami Herald, commenting. Well, this is unbelievable. I didn't know this. All right. I'm used to you being on this, not me.
Used to me?
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm used to you being on this. All right, 216-474-0092. All right, let's go to the phones here. Paul and Canton's been on hold forever. You're first up on the Fan. Paul, let it ride, bud.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning to you.
I think that the Browns did not have the worst quarterback situation last year. I think we had the worst situation for a quarterback. That's why I'm going to take all our resources, every dollar, and Joe Flacco proved that. Once he went to Cincinnati, he showed that, hey, man, look, he's balling out. We had a last-place offensive line. Our running back got hit more behind the line of scrimmage than any other running back, and he's coming back with a shattered leg. We forget that Shedeur Sanders actually led us in rushing like 3 games in a row. And so when you have that, do I think Malik Willis is great or good or bad? I'm not sure. I know he had some injuries with his right shoulder behind a better line, but, it's not that. Resources is dollars, picks, and time. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to waste any of that on bringing some guy like that in. I think people forget, you can have all the talent in the world, but if your guts are bad, it means nothing. You look at the 2012 Eagles.
But at the same time, Paul, stay with me, because I want to give you your money's worth here, and I want to have a conversation here for a quick second. So it only costs them money. They got money. I mean, they can move it around, and they'd always do that and kick it down the can and somehow kick the can down the road, and somehow we always have a bunch of cap space, right? So that seems pretty laissez-faire to me, whatever. But that's what I'm going to say to you, right? Okay. So say they can make that work with the money. It doesn't cost picks, and I got to tell you, I don't think that this is something I'm trying to put together, and I might be a crazy person. Remember, I'm not trying to sell you on Malik Willis. I am not trying to sell you. I'm trying to sell you that Andrew Berry would be interested in Malik Willis because, again, I knew this during the draft last year. I don't know if he made the pick, Andrew, and I don't know if he loves Shedeur the way that a lot of people think he does, because I think that he's thinking about his job. And if he's got to do something pretty crazy, he might do something pretty crazy. So I like Shedeur, and I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. And I'll tell you this, one more thing, is I don't want them to, we say, well, we got to get linemen, we got to get wide receivers, we know this, we got to get weapons. If the market isn't there with good players, then I'm just throwing that money away too. I could be throwing money away on Malik Willis, but they'd be throwing that money away too on all those other players. And I think when he said next year hyper-aggressive, I think this year could be like a wait-and-see type of thing with a guy like Malik Willis.
All right, you know what? I mean, all of that is possible, but my thing is this. It's the most important thing that you're wasting, which is time. Mm-hmm. You can't get that time. And do I think Malik Willis is going to be better than what Joe Flacco or what I saw from Shedeur Sanders last year? I don't know.
I question it myself.
It's the fact that if you got to, you got all these picks on his mind, but can you hit on them? Because I remember that as I was bringing up the 2012 Eagles when they had Vic and Vince Young and Shady McCoy, D-Jacks, and people picked them to go to the Super Bowl, but they won 4 games because their guts were bad.
Yeah,
they were the dream team, but their guts were bad. And the Browns, you bring back Quincy Johnson, who just got out of a walking boot. Your offensive line is horrible, and you're in the AFC North. I mean, this is not. Do I expect Malik Willis to do what behind that? And if you invest everything in your last place offensive line, your last place wide receivers, then you have something set up for the next quarterback if need be. But now you have more information on Shedeur. Whether Shedeur is going to be a bust or a great matters not to me at this time. But I think you have to take all your resources when you have a last place wide receiver and a last place offensive line.
Paul, I got to tell you, because I want to fit a couple more in here. I don't disagree with anything you're saying because I worry about Malik Willis too. Like I am not trying to sell people on Malik Willis. I think people have turned it into a Shedeur Sanders versus Malik Willis thing. Hey,
there's risk involved for sure.
He played last year with a better O-line. He played last year with better weapons. He played last year with a better coaching staff, with better support than he would in Cleveland. Because he can go out there and he could just be terrible for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think that made Malik Willis look a lot better. But that's why he brought up the Bears. Andrew Berry brought up the Bears. And I go, man, he might be doing it in their sense. We're going, hey, he's essentially a rookie, as Anthony says. We'll bring him in. If he shows what he can show, then he'll be better than what we've had. And then when he says hyper-aggressive, they can be hyper-aggressive next year and put people around him. Larry in Cleveland, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Larry. Go ahead.
I got two things I want to say real quick. Okay, I'm not a Shedeur hater or for him, but could you explain this? They played the last place Bengals. They couldn't even get a touchdown. I don't see why everybody talking about he's so great. And one more thing, okay, why the Browns always get all these old guys? Like the old guy for the advisor, Monken. What is a retirement home for old
wait a minute. Are you talking about Dom Capers?
Yes.
No, wait. No, what's wrong with old people being an advisor?
Yeah, they have more experience. They have more knowledge.
What you going to do? Give them a nap and applesauce at halftime?
Oh, that's
Larry,
a cheap shot. That's
geez.
ridiculous. We're not going out on that low note.
No. Al Saunders, he hasn't texted me in a while. He was fit and fit as a fiddle when he was here.
He goes on those hikes every day.
Hold on. I'm looking at a picture of Dom Capers right now. I mean, his hair is darker than mine.
I knew you were going to.
So what are you guys talking about?
I knew you were going to do that.
You know, people got to stop acting or thinking about their age. Okay, it's a decision for you. If you want to walk around and act like you're 88, then you're going to be 88.
How old is Tom Moore? Hold on. Tom Moore is 87 years old. He just retired as a advanced senior assistant of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everybody loves him. Everybody talks to him like the grandfather of football. You all love him. Eddie and Westlake, got to go quick, but you got to go. Go.
Hey, you know what, guys? I want the Browns to fix the offensive line and the receivers, but I'm scared of all these offensive linemen in the first round, all these right tackles that they want to take and put it in our mock draft. So I want the Browns to come out of this free agency with either that Packers left tackle or the center from the Ravens. That's where I want them to devote their money. I don't want them to devote $25 million to Malik Willis. I'd rather give that $22 million to the center for the Ravens.
I like Tyler Linderbaum a whole bunch, and I get nervous when you make guys free agents because I don't like offensive line free agents a whole bunch. I get nervous about that sort of thing, but I do like him.
I get nervous about these right tackles, like we had that we want to make them left tackles and all of that.
Eddie, I totally agree. I totally agree. Get at me tomorrow. I'll try to get to you tomorrow on that because there's a lot of.
Eddie's nice.
You're drafting these guys.
Caller. Don't take him at 9:52-40.
You're drafting these guys in the first round, and when we're talking about already playing musical offensive linemen, like there's a lot of things maybe I just need to change my opinion or my thoughts on these things. Go listen to Todd McShay on 923thefan.com. He was excellent. 22 minutes of football.
The Good Shepherd.
I sat there like George Costanza in the video when he meets the Mimbo. I'm like, it's just so cool listening to football, guys. Joe Varden, we tried. We're going to try to get out to Joe again.
Nap and applesauce.
Mary Kay coming up tomorrow morning at 8:20. Ken Carman, Tone, Owen, Johnny Boy. We're back tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, friends. Go Cavs. Go Cavs.
Sounds good. Where's your entourage now?